Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. I am Michael Petrow, and joining me on the show this week, this is a very special Real Talk. This is a filmmaker's Real Talk. We have returning guest Allan Wong, who, if you've listened to his episode, you know he's one of the forces behind the Fashion Asian Film Festival in Winnipeg. You also know he is one of the head honchos over at the Gimli Film Festival, the program director. And then we've also got his friend Krystle Snow, who does stunt work in the Manitoba film industry, and Ian Bow, a masturbator, and me pulling up the rear. So that's who's on the show. It's a bunch of filmmakers. It's a bunch of film professionals talking about what they love for you. We start off with our What Did You Watch? We've got some Gilded Age in there. We've got some Pam and Tommy in there. We've got some Peacemaker in there. And we've also got some of our Oscar predictions in there as well, too, which is why I felt, you know what, we should just release this fucker a week early. We'll drop it on Oscar Day instead of waiting till after the fact, and then we all look silly. So, with that in mind, that as well as we're talking about montages, we're talking about cameo appearances. We asked the question, if you were to show an Amazonian tribes person a film for the first time, they've never seen anything, what would you show them? And a lot of fun other stuff like that. So that's who's on the show. That's what's on the show. If you are in the Winnipeg area, May 14th, 8 p.m. at the Handsome Daughter, we're going to be doing a live recording. We would love it if you were there, if you were in the Winnipeg or Manitoba area. Come on in. Come see us, Winnipeg fans. With that in mind, the show, what we're going to be doing that evening, if you saw us at Comic-Con last year, we're going to do something very similar. We're going to be arguing, because we're in a restaurant, because we're in the Handsome Daughter and Magic Bird Chicken's right there. We're going to argue what movie or TV show should have its own themed eatery. Okay, like, do you want to do a brick and mortar? Do you want to do a food truck? Do you want to do a pop-up somewhere? Do you want to do a hot dog cart? Whatever it is, pick your favorite movie or TV show and turn it into your favorite restaurant. So that's happening May 14th, full cast, possibly even Martin as a big head on a screen behind us. 8 p.m. showtime. $10 at the door for tickets. Unfortunately, you can't reserve in advance. Just show up. It'll be a good time. We had such a blast with everybody at Comic-Con because we want to engage with you guys. So for a live podcast recording, if you've never been to one, there will be a microphone migrating the room, and you'll be able to call one of us out, argue along with us, come up with your own idea. Maybe we'll do some Q&A with you. We're going to have prizes. We're going to give away some stuff. We're going to have trivia. It's going to be a fun-filled night. So for all you local cinephiles who are in the Winnipeg and or Manitoba region, please come hang out with us. Be there for 7, doors open. Show goes on at 8. It'll be about a 2-hour affair with a little intermission in between. So you can get up and stretch your legs, have some drinks, eat some chicken. It'll be a damn good time. I have nothing else for you, but follow us on social media for more information about that. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We've got everything everywhere. I got nothing else. So I give you the Filmmakers Real Talk with Krystle, Allan, Ian, and myself. I will cue the reel. You enjoy the show, and happy Oscars.
Let's tidy up this tangle of film by putting it on a reel. Here is a motion picture film, 1,000 feet, 16,000 separate photographs.
Welcome everyone to the official space section of the charter.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Sir, you're out of order. Out of order. I show you out of order.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Real Debaters production. Welcome back to the show. I am Michael Petrow.
I'm Ian Bow.
I'm Allan Wong.
And I'm Krystle Snow.
And that's everybody on the show for you this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to do this because this is a filmmaker's nerd out. That's what I kind of title it as the working title, per se. So everybody except me works in film in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to nerd out on you guys as well as argue with you today. So just don't mind that. That being said, Allan, thank you for coming back and doing this.
Yeah,
This
of
is
course.
awesome. And you were like, we should bring a friend. And that's how Krystle's here, right?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. And I want to kind of preface this by saying this is a full tangent show because these questions are very open, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna have some fun with them today. So without further ado, Ian, let's start our friends off here with a round of What Did You Watch? Krystle, you can go first. What have you been watching this week?
Okay, so I started watching The Gilded Age.
Oh, Crave, right?
Anyone?
HBO.
Anyone seen it
HBO.
yet?
Yeah, no, not yet.
No.
Okay, so I am a huge Downton Abbey fan. I love Julian Fellows. I also love anything that's like set in a period. And so when I heard after Downton Abbey ended that he was doing another show, but it was going to be about New York City in the late 1800s. So it's very new money versus old money. So the whole show is basically like if you didn't watch Downton Abbey, it was upstairs, downstairs. So it was all about, the rich people upstairs and the poor people downstairs. So this is sort of flipped it where it's about a bunch of rich people, but now the rich people that are new money aren't good enough. So it's like the main family he's basically owns all the railroads in the US, but no one will accept him. No one will come to his new house. No one will be, because it's not
your new money.
Yeah. It's the Astors and the Rockefellers and all them going.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
cool.
it's all of them saying like, we can't have you at their party. But it's so good. The costumes are beautiful.
Interesting.
The camera work is like epic and sweeping, and I think it'll take a while to catch on because I think everyone's comparing it to Downton Abbey because Julian Fellowes wrote it, and it wasn't right away. I wasn't quite in there. I wasn't quite because I was hoping it would be a little bit more like that. But now I'm hooked. Now I'm in.
Is it a slow burn? Like I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, Downtown. I've never really watched it, but I just assumed it is a slow burn, and then this show, the picture made me think it was slow burn as like Crave tried to make me watch it.
I avoided Downton Abbey for I think the first 4 seasons because I thought that it was about a church.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Yeah,
and
I thought that too.
My grandma watched it, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch this. And then when I got into it, I realized that it's like a super high-end soap opera that you just can't not watch.
So it's Game of Thrones without violence.
It totally is.
Does it have at least one dragon?
I wish.
Yeah.
It would make it better. Maybe some
Daenerys's.
wands and no. But
Two Daenerys's.
but my friend.
I'm sorry. Did you say wands?
Well, they did.
Wands
Hey.
in Game of Thrones.
Hey, the only real comparison we can make is that I believe the monarchy and the Targaryens both kept it in the bloodlines, right?
Oh.
Isn't that how you
true.
keep it in? Keep it fresh? No. Oh,
Yeah,
anyways.
that is true. So yeah, that's what I've been watching, and it's pretty good.
The Gilded Age, I've heard of this talked about in classes that I was probably falling asleep in. Like the Gilded Age is part of the industrial age, and
Exactly.
but what is the Gilded Age? Is that when is
I
that?
think it's just when it was like the height of excess.
Okay.
So the
Like
railroads
now?
were being built. Yes, the railroads. It's beautiful in the show too because the first opening shot is a carriage and it's riding across this what looks like open field with some trees around it, and then you realize it's a huge statue, and then it says Central Park. So it's you see Central Park sort of rising up, and how Fifth Avenue isn't fashionable anymore. So everyone's moving to this part near the park, and so you kind of get to see the history of New York unfolding as well.
That's interesting, and it's obviously an American tale instead of a European tale.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you can kind of like relate it to how Winnipeg back in the day, when the exchange district was being built, and leading up to the
trolley cars.
Exactly, leading up to like the general strike and like.
Exactly the same, Allan. Exactly.
I did Google.
Nice deep cut. I like that.
What is Gilded Age? And it says Gilded Age was a period of flashy materialism and overt political corruption in the United States during the 1870s.
I'm going to admit, I judged a book by its cover. I saw it and was like, "Listen, I know that Downton Abbey is great. I'm just not. If the monarchy did more in real life, I'd probably be sucked in more, right? But I've got a little bit of a qualm with how much they don't do versus what they could do. But that's besides the point. But I was like, okay, this looks Downton Abbey, and I tried Downton Abbey, and I didn't like it. But now that you've explained it in this way, it sounds like a fancy Gangs of New York.
It could be. I mean, it's a
I
little
feel
more
like you're still not
skirts
gonna
than
watch it.
knives, but-
I'm going to try. Let's be honest here.
I think you're a fucking liar.
Fuck you. Get out of my house. We're starting it right now.
well, and my best friend who lives in Toronto, she works for the musical stage company. So she's a huge Broadway musical, and I know very little about it. She commented that almost all the stars are Broadway stars. So a lot of the women that are in it are famous Broadway actors because you don't recognize a ton of them. There are a couple that I know from television, but so that's kind of cool too that there's
Giving
not
a shot
yeah.
for, and like period pieces are expensive.
Yeah, and Carrie Coon?
Yeah.
Is in it? Yeah.
Carrie
she's
Coon's
the
in
lead-
it?
She's
Fuck
the lead in
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Boom! I'm there.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, my leftovers.
Yeah.
One of my biggest crushes of the world.
Yeah.
Really?
He's
Like-
a huge Leftovers fan.
I'm a huge Leftovers and Carrie Coon's fan. Like that woman is
She's great.
beautiful.
She was
Like,
in
I don't know Carrie Coon. I gotta.
She was in Gone Girl.
She was
played
in
his
Gone
sister.
Girl. Yeah,
Yep.
she's in so
His
many
sister.
good
Yep.
fucking movies.
Was she in Fargo? A season of Fargo?
She was. She was the
in
cop in the season of Fargo in
Yes.
season 1
Yes.
of Fargo, I believe.
Nope.
Season
Season
3?
2.
Oh, was it 2?
It was 2 because.
Fuck, I don't remember.
Oh God, she is in it.
She is in it.
Oh.
I just picture her dressed exactly like she's a Fargo cop, so
Yeah.
it must be true.
No, it's definitely true.
It is true. I just don't know what season. You know why? It's because Fargo did this thing where they kept being like, all these stories are true. They just may have not necessarily happened in whatever order or something like that. And you really started to believe that they all tied together. And then they did the Ewan McGregor season. And I was like, what the fuck is
right. Him and his versus his twin brother.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that just completely went away. And then the Chris Rock season with like the Kansas City
Mafia.
I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up because I was like, there's not enough tying me together. There's not enough Carrie Coon.
Yeah.
I'm just mad that we lost the first season of that show.
Is that because
the
flight to LA?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
LA
flight
went to
thing.
Calgary. Yeah.
Because we didn't have the direct flights to LA.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was down
I
here?
just was.
Like,
I
we're
was so
just
excited.
north
I'm
of
like,
it. Like it makes all the fucking logistical sense.
We got Pinkertons, guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's comparable.
So comparable.
It's comparable, okay?
Are you a big period piece fan in general?
I
outside,
do.
Or
I
just,
mean, I think it's. I love when I was a kid. One of the first big overseas trips was I toured with my choir to England, and so I fell in love with the history, that sort of age, that architecture and stuff. So then, yes, now I'm just obsessed, and I live in a house built in 1906 that has all the original woodwork and
so many underlying themes here.
Are you ever worried about ghosts?
I was initially, especially because I had spent a whole month in the house when I first moved in by myself, and it's 3 stories, and it's but then there's a door that looks like it's a door to a cupboard, but it goes up to a 3rd floor with lofts and little doors in it and stuff. It's very cool. You guys
Like the
can come over
Sixth Sense,
sometime.
where you can get locked in a cupboard and
yes,
see
it is,
another
it
world.
totally
Or Paranormal Activity 3, where the kids get into the closet and it
Oh,
goes
I
to
never
a
made
different...
it past 1.
Oh my god. Anyways, keep going.
But yes, anything that has like beautiful dresses when ladies got dressed up every day for dinner and stuff. I don't know. I just find it fascinating because
We should all have a dinner where we do that, where
I
we
would
dress up in
love
Victorian
Yeah.
era, like us in like penguin coattails, right? Like the long and the big top hats, and
And then there's a murder.
Yes.
And
We go to
have
McDonald's.
and we have to solve the murder.
yes,
I
murder
know.
mystery night.
Yeah. But it actually is a real murder. And we actually have to solve a murder.
okay, meta.
I'm just saying, like, how
It's
seriously
all an
you
audio
wanna
drama.
take
It's
it.
not real.
Sidebar: I
Yeah.
got an Oculus,
I have one too.
and it's I don't know if you've played. It's just going back to this.
Talk about murder and Oculus. I'm like, where's this going?
There's a There's an escape room game.
Yes, there is. I haven't played it, but I know about it.
There's a few of them, but it's the one I just forgot the name of it. But it's set in sort of like Sherlocky times.
Okay, I don't
and
know
you've
about
got
that
to go to It's if you just Google best escape room game on it. But anyway, it's set in that time period, and you have to an architect goes missing or an archaeologist, and you have to go through to a mummy's tomb, and it's so good.
And it
It's
turns
so
out
good
it's
to just-
Indiana Jones.
So should we buy
An Oculus?
an Oculus?
I would highly.
I'm getting
recommend
one.
buying
Are you?
an Oculus.
Yeah.
How much
for
is
sure.
it?
They're around $400.
Oh, fuck it. I'll buy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I would buy an Oculus over a Switch because I know the
Yeah.
Switch, I will get bored by the Switch
Oh,
after
plus
like a
there's
week.
so many. Okay, so
Oh.
I'll have to tell you about this movie that I saw at Sundance.
Yeah.
It's called We Met in VR.
Oh,
And,
I heard about this.
yes.
Apparently it's really good. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Joe Hunting, first time VR director. He's made like a bunch of like other little shorts. He uses basically like a tool, like a VR video tool to go into VR chat and like film what's going on, like what he sees in VR. And so he's made this. This is his first feature-length movie. It premiered at Sundance, and it's amazing because not only is it like when you start watching it, it's kind of weird because everything's in VR. You see all these people's avatars, and they're just talking about, stupid things that people talk about in VR chat.
Yeah,
And nobody has legs.
that's very true. We're all waist up.
Or like everyone's dressed in like fetish wear.
Right.
Like it's very
Everybody's a furry.
exactly. It's very interesting, very strange. But then like they start talking about like the real reasons why they love it, and it also follows like couples who have met in VR and like how their relationships have developed, and it ends up being very like really touching and really real. Like there's a real human connection, even though you don't see a single person in the movie. It's all just VR avatars. Anyways, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was one of the ones that people talked about coming out of Sundance. Like that was like one of the docs people were just like, oh, this is one of the ones worth watching. It's very moving and like fun. That's how it's told. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a place where we all assume a character, even though we don't really intend. Like it's an avatar, right? It's
Right.
something other than yourself.
Yeah.
So you get the interesting fact is you get the ability to be whatever you want.
I just assumed everyone in there is 10 because every time I'm just I feel really good about myself because I'm kicking ass in my high bow, bow and arrow game, and I'm flying.
That's
I'm
such a good game.
I know. I'm always number one in the training ground, and I'm just killing everyone. And then I hear like this little like mic turn on and go, does anyone want a sword fight? Does anyone want a sword fight? And then I'm like, oh, they're all 10. I thought I was just like a badass, and then I realized no, they're all 10. And then there's this one called Big Screen, where you can go sit in theater. Like,
yes, yeah, I've
in
seen the
theater
app.
chairs,
Yeah.
and you can,
I heard
it's
about
the
this.
Weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Because they have movie rentals, and they're all strange and old, and
this is the reason why I want it, by the way, for this.
Yeah, and then there's a place where it just plays a channel of what's that guy's name, Dr. Phil. And so I went into this room, and it's a bunch of kids just throwing virtual tomatoes at each other and chatting, and then there's like a bunch of little kids being like,
so much
my
fun.
head strap hurts, and then another kid's like, well, the head strap that comes with the Oculus isn't actually really good. You gotta get, and then they're just throwing things at each other, and then I sat down, I'm like, I'm gonna watch the Turner Classic Movie Channel, so I'm sitting in my theater chair, and some kid pulls a marker out of thin air and just starts drawing in front of my face, so I can't see the screen, and I was like, you dick.
You can't do anything about that?
No, I had to just like leave and come back.
You got digitally bullied?
I got digitally bullied by a child while he hummed, which was weird and creepy.
That's so
but
cool.
I hope that app like evolves a little better because it's very cool. Like, because they have all the 3D, Jurassic Park 3D, Titanic 3D, all the ones that came kind of back in 3D. So that'll be a good one to,
I've been, because I went in there and saw the same shit list of movies that you were talking about.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know.
not. But like, if you Star Trek in 3D, sign me
Sure.
up, right?
Great.
In a minute. I found a new drumming game. It's very much like Beat Sabers,
Ooh, I love Beat Saber.
but you get a tom, a snare, and a cymbal, and they just come flying at you, and you have to double, you have to triple, before you go.
That's a good brain exercising right there.
At the end of the night, I had two things. I had a really sore wrist, and I had a 20-minute video Shauna made of me just sitting there doing like.
There's a joke in there I'm not going to make.
Amazing.
anything with a sore wrist joke. I was just like, should I jump in? Nah, fuck
All
it.
right, I don't want to take this off to another tangent too much, but I feel like this is like the future of film festivals, like virtual film festivals,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Right.
Like when you
Yeah.
can't actually go to Sundance or Cannes or like TIFF or whatever, you can be there virtually watching movies
I
virtually.
think so.
Yeah.
And I think
why
too,
not?
once the avatars, I think that's the thing that, these avatars that are just these hanging sort of eggs with no legs, and they're pretty primitive right now. I think that once they can really look like you, I don't know, or someone you want to look like.
You mean Ready Player One?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
want-
I
you want
hope-
Ready Player
I
One.
just want to live there.
Yeah.
Really, I've
I
been
know.
waiting,
Yeah.
and this is like the first step. That's the first thing I said when I put on the Oculus was like, "Oh my god, it's like Ready Player One. It's happening
you
You're
right
walking on a
now."
treadmill and you're just like,
Yeah, I was ready to get a suit on and wired up.
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
I wanted it all. I already ordered a new strap, like that I've been waiting for 25
Because the one
days
that
for.
comes with the Oculus really is
Is-
really
Yeah.
good.
The front,
Kids, right though.
you're fucking drawing on my face. Leave me the fuck alone.
my front neck muscles were so sore from like I didn't even realize it. The next morning I woke up, I'm like, oh, why can't I lift my neck? It's because I've been like bow and arrow fighting for 6 hours or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right,
the-
Ian, we're gonna go to the store and buy.
I know.
Do
Right?
it. We'll all
We
meet.
should. I mean, I totally.
All I've heard is like sore wrist and sore neck, and I feel like no.
I have the
Also
ratchet
jokes.
style headset.
That's what I ordered.
Okay, you can put it on before you leave, and you can see how. Because the worst part about an Oculus is if you want to share the experience, getting it off and then trying to get it on someone's head after, and then teach them what they're about to experience, right? Because you can go on your phone
Yep.
and you can cast to your phone and you can watch what you're looking at. So
Yep.
I'll be like, no, look down. No, just look at your dick. See the control panel? There it is. Like,
Yes,
like,
it is
but literally,
frustrating.
it's like,
Yeah.
like you're guiding them to do these weird things. So,
I bought a Google Chrome and I blasted on my big screen now because I.
this is a Chrome house. Chrome, upstairs, Chrome, everywhere, Chrome.
How dare you?
The screencast for Apple's the worst. You always gotta buy something else for
Let's see.
it.
Wait, if you truly have if you're a Google house, say, "Hey Google." I don't hear shit. Okay, you
Hey, Alexa. How's it going?
good. How are you?
Catch up on life's great questions, like, is a hot dog a sandwich? It turns out, a lot of people are undecided.
You have an Alexa and you say you're a Google house?
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I have one too.
Caught you in a lie, my
he
friend.
probably bought it through Google.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Fair enough. Okay, so back to Gilded Age. We'll close it out here.
Yep.
How many big dresses out of 10 do you give it? How many Victorian era dresses?
Oh.
Or railroad spikes?
Okay, well, I'm gonna say between 7 and 8.
Okay.
And it's not that I do love it and I'm addicted and I can't wait for the next episode. But I just think as a whole round show that everyone's gonna, it's niche. It's niche. So I'm gonna give it a 7 or 8.
Right,
if there were dragons in it and maybe
definitely
some magic,
9. Yeah.
I would be hiked up there. But
wait like 3 months, I think, for the House of Dragons to come out on HBO, which is the Targaryen era of. I think we're 3 months away from that.
Isn't it funny? Just another I was obsessed with Game of Thrones. I read the books before the show started. I was obsessed. Every night I'd lay in bed for an hour, like talking about it. I was just like, oh my God, like everything that happened.
I know nothing, John.
And he's my relative. We're all bastards. And so it's just funny that a show like that was so big that no one's it ended, and it ended so badly that no one talks about it now. That like all those Targaryen scarves that were like in a shop somewhere, like in a in a dumpster.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I just was obsessed with
we
that
don't
show.
we don't have a Game of Thrones like store like Harry Potter, like we're like that
yes.
shit, like we'll collect
no
up,
one's
like,
building it in a theme park somewhere. They're like, oh, let's forget about that.
I think it's funny when you go on like a Facebook marketplace and see like the memorabilia of old movie and TV shows that no one wants anymore.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh man, that's so sad. Why are you trying to sell it?
I know. Hot Topic. If you go to the like bin at Hot Topic at the back, you're like, oh, these sad forgotten things.
I thought you were opening that sentence with Hot Topic. You're like, Hot Topic. Masks, and you were like, Hot Topic. If you go to Hot Topic, and I was like, oh,
that was well strung together.
That was great.
Okay, so Allan, you already mentioned Meta in VR. Out of 10, how many legless avatars out of 10 do you want to give that?
I would give it a 9 because it's something that very few people have seen before, but the weirdness factor of just like how like the juxtaposition of how real these people are compared to like the overt sexualism of their avatars just makes it just that much more weird and kind of like, I don't know, maybe takes you out of it, but to be honest, like I thought it was fascinating, and so yeah, I'd give it a 9.
It's a doc, I would imagine, or okay.
Yeah.
What has he done anything else? You said this was his first film, right?
His first film. He's done a bunch of different shorts before, like I guess like working up to this film.
Sure.
And so you can kind of see his progression on his website. Joe Hunting is his name, but it's fantastic. I'm very tempted to program it at Gimli, but that's not my decision. But I'm going to.
You're gonna push for it.
It's not my decision, but yeah, I'll push for it.
You know what? It would be really cool to do it and then have everybody watch it in a headset.
In VR.
Like if everybody could have a VR headset and
God.
experience that because then what you're doing is you're showcasing what you just said, that watching film festivals if you can't go, but what if you could go and experience watching it as it was made?
I feel like that's something someone would do like separately outside of a festival. Like someone would have like a whole like,
a premiere night or something,
like a 360 experience of something. They do that with concerts and stuff sometimes. Yeah,
I'll be honest. I don't think
cool.
it's that'd be great to do to have like a virtual
It's
festival.
very expensive. That's what
It's not going to happen this year.
But you heard him, folks. Next year,
yes.
If you could get in touch with Meta or the Oculus makers and be like, look, we want to pack a beach full of people with like.
We want to give them
Oculus
all.
I'll get you the generators
Just
from
on
work
the
at no
beach?
charge.
Why do they have to be on the beach?
Yeah, I know they're gonna run.
I'll power the whole thing for free.
Okay, you know that the internet on the beach is really it's pretty shitty.
Okay, so we call Meta and we call Elon and we get some Starlink on the beach.
Starlinks, just surrounded by Starlinks.
It's gonna be great.
Attached to every like
It's
light
gonna be great.
light fixture.
Okay, what else have you been watching besides dating in VR?
I've been watching a lot of like festival like new movies or festival movies because Oscar nominations came out, CSA nominations came out.
Yeah.
So the last movie I watched was Drive My Car, which is
I just got told that if I don't watch this, I'm missing out on one of the best films of the year.
It's great. It's based on, actually, if you know the author Murakami, Haruki Murakami. He's very popular.
Okay.
Like he's very, very probably the most popular Japanese author internationally right now.
He also did the movie Burning like 2 years ago. That was also very popular. That was based off one of his stories too.
Mhm.
Yep. Sorry.
Anyways,
Yeah.
this one's based off one of his short stories from a novel called Men Without Women, and it's basically about
Sounds
a state like
awful.
a theater.
It sounds
actor.
like we're lost.
Sounds like you guys are fucked.
Yeah.
Sounds like my bedroom. Why are you laughing?
I can appreciate.
Hold your composure.
I
so
can.
sad.
I can appreciate honesty. That's all I'm saying.
I have a dog.
Anyways, it's a fun romp. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
What's the story about it? It was very
Uh,
brief in conversation, and I didn't get much. So I'm
Yeah,
curious.
no, I don't know. Brief summary. It's based on a short story from that book, Men Without Women. It's about a like sort of like a theater actor, and is a more experienced theater actor, and he loses his wife, and so he's alone, obviously. And then he has to be driven around. He takes his contract at a theater festival. And he has to be one of the stipulations of this theater festival is that he has a driver. He can't drive his own car because I guess they had an accident, and one of their visiting guest artists, got into a car accident and hit somebody and killed them, and so there's like liability issues, and so they just need a professional driver to drive around their special guests, and he's a special guest because he's directing this new theater show. Anyways, so relationships develop between him and the driver, who's a young girl, not like romantic or anything like that, but just like very human, and it kind of like explores, explores his independence, but also his sort of like his deep set. Eventually, it comes out, his emotions and thoughts about his ex-wife and how the loss of her affected him and that sort of thing. So it's actually quite deep, and there's a lot of other things that kind of go along with it. It's pretty interesting. I actually read the book like last year, and not knowing that there was a movie coming
Sure,
out.
yeah.
And actually not knowing that the movie was based on that story. And so when I saw it, I'm like,
That
this
just
seems
sounds
very familiar.
This is plagiarism.
I was like, oh, right, that makes sense.
You're like halfway through an email to like to the
I
director.
think somebody stole your idea, man. Like there's this movie.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I
It's
sold the
like-
rights, Alan. Who's in it? Anybody that we know?
Well, I mean, no, not that I would know it. I mean, like they're Japanese actors. I'm sure that actually it's quite international. There's like in the movie, the play that he's working on, all the actors are from different Asian countries, like Japan, Korea, China, Taiwan, like Filipino, and they do all their lines in their native language, and then it's just all subtitled in Japanese on stage or surtitled on stage, right, in Japanese. And so I thought, well, that's actually quite a unique theatrical concept.
And what's the play again? Uncle
Vanya.
Uncle Vanya.
Mm.
Yeah, the
Classic.
The classic. Who's the author now?
Chekhov?
Chekhov.
No.
Thank
Is it?
you.
Is
Yes,
it
it's Chekhov. Yes.
Is it? I don't know.
Yes.
Whenever it's over there, I think it's Chekhov.
Yeah. It's a
I've
Chekhov.
never
Yeah,
done
I
it
mean-
personally because I'm not Russian. So but
Yeah.
I
We're not
don't
getting-
need to be.
We're
now.
not getting to Russia.
No, let's not go there.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think it's going to win?
For foreign film?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't watched the other foreign films.
Okay,
But it was
all right.
very good. It was very good. Although it is 3 hours long. So
Wow.
I
Oh,
think
my.
I think it will win foreign. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, though. I'm happy it's nominated for Best Picture.
yeah.
But yeah, I think foreign for sure. It's taking
The story's solid. The story's pretty solid. Yeah.
Well, I want to take a minute and talk about the Oscars for a second because it got brought up. There's some news articles. There's some bits of news that happened this week
I
your
know.
opinions on these are actually I'm interested in them because the Oscars are going Oscars light this year, and they
LITE.
are LITE. Yeah. They are removing editing. Fuck me, I don't know why. They're removing score. They're removing
Hair, makeup,
hair, makeup.
costume.
You know, I didn't know.
costume
I didn't
still
know
gets
any
it.
of this.
Hair, makeup is removed.
I had no idea this is. I didn't hear about this.
Late in the week, Wednesday, Thursday.
I see.
Ish,
Yeah,
that
that's
this
when I'm
started.
usually
They've
asleep.
removed, I think, 8 or something.
They've removed more of the ones. They've included more in the dinner, and they're not even airing them. But they've removed. These are the ones that everybody is up in arms about, and nobody at any of the unions.
Yeah.
knew about this. They just did this Zoom call this week, and they were like, "We regret to tell you that some of your
Favorites.
some of your
foreign film.
foreign film. That's the
short,
yes, yeah.
all
it's
the
the foreign
foreign-
short
yeah.
and the short and another short animation, foreign short and short
Yeah.
film are all
Cut
not
from the
televised.
Not televised.
Not
Yeah.
televised. They'll be recorded previously.
Okay, so then what will they have then? The big ones, obviously, right?
The
Yes.
ones that don't require you to learn more about film that you weren't exposed to previously.
Right.
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 Yeah.
And all the ones that are big and attract and
Right.
are singular in nature, like hair and makeup, team. Director, yes, team, but the director goes on stage,
Yeah.
right? So what you're doing is you're chunking out parts of a production that the Oscars are now essentially saying, we don't think you should get a chance to say thank you, to pay attention to the work you've done, and to know how crucial what you do is, like editing and score. What do you think John Williams is doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
How the
great.
fuck
So
are you
so
thinking that?
it was 8
Right?
in total. So documentary short, film editing, makeup and hairstyling, original score, production design, and animated short.
Production
Sorry,
design.
animated
That's the
short,
other- yeah.
live action short, and sound.
Sound.
You did that.
Who are,
Right, you
who
know,
are
that is-
we
that's where it
without
hurts.
sound?
I mean, like you guys all know that Amy Schumer's going to come out there with no makeup on, miming. Like, I mean, if you were smart, you'd make a joke and sort of
Yeah,
leave.
totally.
Because what's the easiest
That's
joke
brilliant.
someone can make?
Like when you come out and you can't, you just keep talking and there's no cut, and you're like, my editor didn't show up. They were
Right.
told not to come.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Right.
feel like they're going to have some of those
Yeah.
So,
a
but
yeah.
they did this a similar thing
few years ago.
a few years ago.
But then there was
They were.
But they fought it
Backlash,
back,
yeah.
But then even prior to that, like a few years before that, they were like, no. If you're one of these 8 categories, you didn't get to go on stage. You basically got your award in the aisle. So basically, they're like, and the winner for best film editing is Joe, and Joe would get up and just come out to the aisle and give it to you. They have a microphone there, and you just gotta go thanks, and you sit back in your seat right away. So they save like 30 seconds of walk time and having to kick them off stage. So like they're trying to cut it because that it's funny. They're just trying to get to like 2.5 hours or 3 hours. I don't know what their goal is. They've been hitting 3 hours. It's just no one fucking watches
Yeah,
the show.
that's
the
the
thing.
problem.
Like-
This is they think they're trimming the fat.
Yeah.
But okay, sit down for a second, Academy, and just go. How about you make it more fun?
How about you bring back Billy Crystal?
that?
No.
I said that. Yes.
No.
Yes,
Come
I'm on
on.
Team
For
Billy.
who?
I
For
love
for the
Billy Crystal.
aging millennials?
For
Well,
everybody.
okay, maybe not Billy Crystal, but bring back that fun, the like, I
the
don't
big
know.
music breaks,
Yes.
the over the top,
Those
like
are the
when they
fun
never
things.
took themselves so seriously.
Yes.
But when, like, in the moment where you were presented your award, you got to say whatever you want and,
Yeah.
and go off. But outside of that, outside of the work, the show was always funny.
Always
And now the
fun.
show is taking themselves too seriously, and it's not fun anymore.
No.
Well, it's just has too much like, and I love the Oscar. Don't get me wrong, this is my Super Bowl, and
I
like
do
I love
too.
I know,
I
me
love
too.
Billy Crystal too. I just like I would love to see him host, but I just think that's the wrong way.
You're hitting all
Yeah.
us 40, 50, 60-year-olds.
Yeah, like I love it because I was
Yeah.
like, I remember fucking
Yeah.
Oscars 2000 was one of my favorites. Fucking best presentation by Billy. Billy, great song. I got it. But like
Yes.
you need like I don't know. They tried controversial. They've tried everything. I think it's the stick up their ass because they're really like the suit and tie of the Oscar is the thing that stigmatizes it, where people do not want to really watch it. It doesn't seem fun and cool. It seems
Yeah.
too pretentious. So I think it just if they can figure out how to be less pretentious in some way, I don't know how, then they'll win. I think it's not about a host.
I think it's always gonna be attractive to the people who are involved in the industry. That's what it is. It's an industry event, right? You want to celebrate people's work, you want to celebrate their talents and that sort of thing. But people who are not into it are never going to be into it if they're just not.
That's a
into
good
like,
Well,
point.
and times have changed. You
But-
can see celebrities anytime you want on the internet.
Yeah,
you can
that's
see
a
what
good
they're
point.
doing, what they're having for breakfast.
The
Yeah.
mystery's gone.
The mystery's gone.
Yeah.
You used to wait till they came out of the red carpet and you saw them and you didn't,
Oh.
like,
Yeah.
it was
Oscars used to be 6
exciting.
hours, 3
Yes.
hours red carpet for me, and I'm like,
Yeah, it was a
I
big
didn't even
event.
care about the dresses.
Yeah.
It was just the spectacle
Absolutely.
and the pomp and circumstance, and being a million miles away from Brad Pitt. But now I'm like, Brad Pitt's doing soon.
But you can say
Right,
that about the
right,
Oscars, but
exactly.
then the Super Bowl still draws in like 40, 50 million for viewership.
Well, yeah, because that's a sporting event. I mean, like that's for the people.
Give them bread and give them what is it? Give them bread
Circus?
and give them
Bread
like
and
that.
circuses.
Bread and circuses.
I guess you're right, but like like essentially this is also like a competition.
It's a competition, but it's also like it's like a conference event.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go to like an industry conference if you're not involved in that industry?
People
right?
people watch the draft.
I don't go to an
But yeah.
IT conference not knowing anything about IT.
Exactly.
People fucking love the draft, man. People watch that shit, and that's
They
like
do.
a
It's
conference.
weird to
yeah,
me.
it's weird to me. Too. I'm not a sports guy, so I can't even
Neither.
understand the Super Bowl. So,
No.
like, I know teams played like last Sunday. Was it last Sunday?
It was
Sunday before.
a few weeks
Yeah,
ago. Yeah.
Hey, time is relevant. Yeah.
Well,
Time is relevant in a pandemic.
it's because of gambling.
yeah.
Yeah, that too.
Because if we just need to make gambling a part of the Oscars.
It is. They have it in the.
They
in
do.
Vegas,
They
yeah.
have a line.
Power
in
of the
Vegas.
Dog's fucking winning right now for
Yeah.
odds of being Best Picture. I
You
watch
can-
that shit.
you can
I'm
go
a,
to
Wow.
Vegas.
I was
I'm a
part of,
gambler.
You got money on it?
I
Oscar
was
pool?
part of an Oscar, an award season,
Yeah.
like fantasy, like football thing
Oh.
with Patrick Gratin.
Yeah.
That was the
Back then.
hardest thing
Yeah.
I've ever done in my life. Like, I thought he was just going to do like the Oscars, the Golden Globes. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, sure. And I'd be like on my vacation and he'd be like, okay, there's 6 awards things this week. So I need you to have them all in your Dropbox and your guesses. And I was like, I was on that, is it Gold Digger? That website that tells you all the people's predictions or whatever. I was
Right.
on there every day and submitting things. It was
Take
the,
the
and then the
shit.
next year he was like, hey, do you want to be in the thing again? I was like, no, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
I've
like.
never had.
He's a
I've-
handicapper.
Yeah. I was
was
once
crazy.
a bookie, and it's not easy. No kids.
and there was no prize.
Yeah. Oh, that's bullshit.
I
See,
know,
like, so
I got second place.
I'm part of Oscar pools, and I love it. And actually, the one year where I destroyed. It was one year where I had my usual one, and then I found out like another friend group was doing one. I was like, can I join? And then I found out the Winnipeg Film Group was doing one. I was like, can I join? And I put in money. They were all money one, and I won all 3. And I would have lost all 3, but I won because I put Moonlight for Best Picture. And it's funny because I would have lost. And then they're like, La La Land. I'm like, I lost all 3. And they're like, Moonlight. And I was like, wow.
Whoa.
And I won like $70.
Oh my
And
Yeah,
God.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Warren Beatty.
That was a crazy year. That was a crazy
Thank,
was a crazy
thanks,
year.
Jimmy Kimmel.
You just come out and open your mouth, and whatever that came out was the win. Like you just started talking. Like,
I love it.
No filter.
That was one of my favorite like moments.
It was really
Yeah.
good. It was shocking, people talked about it. Maybe it was planned. They were like, "Hey, you guys, numbers
to
are
that
down."
was their attempt to drive the
yeah,
numbers
they were
up.
like, "Let's, we got to do it."
Have some sort of scandal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oscar scandal.
What? How many Chekhov plays out of 10 do you give Drive My Car?
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, it's great. It's just I just found that pacing is a little slow. It's a slow. It didn't need to be 3 hours. But otherwise it was very interesting. And yeah, I mean, you have to be into foreign films, obviously, like because everything's in subtitles. And when I was watching it,
I would disagree
there
about
was
the
somebody
like
very tall in front of me.
the 3 hour thing. The 3 hour mark I actually kind of enjoyed because I think it earns it in a weird way. But I would say like Burning out of the 2 movies is a better movie, even though it's by the same author of the short story.
Different filmmaker, though.
Different
right?
filmmaker.
Yeah.
But Burning is a better movie. But similar style, like very slow burn movie.
Mm.
Both of them.
What
But
would you give?
for Drive My Car?
How many Chekhov plays?
Probably like, is it out of 10
Yeah.
or okay? Because Chekhov had more than 10 plays.
Ooh,
Like-
expert here.
I'm just saying,
Your hubris is showing.
no, that's my dick. I
That's
would
where your
give
console lives.
it. My Oculus is too tight. I'd give it like a 7 Chekhov's plays out of 10 Chekhov's.
Well,
plays.
you're much more critical than I am. So
Well, I've read a book.
That's us at the Real Debaters, Allan. We're critical fuckers over here. Take our word for it. Oh shit, Ian, you want to go next? You want me to go next?
It's up to you.
All right, you go next because I can't follow.
Ah!
Like what my pick is.
You
is
know,
not- yeah.
I've watched too many things.
I know, but you
Um,
bring a list,
I usually do, but
chop it up real quick, and then you go on.
The
one.
list is on up here.
Oh, okay.
I watched Uncharted. And let's
Okay.
break it down
Great.
fast. Never played the game. Not much of a gamer. Mediocre movie. Love Mark Wahlberg. Tom Holland's all right. Moving on. I watched King Richard, Will Smith, weird voice, great supporting actress wife, about tennis. Tennis shot mediocrely, okay movie. I didn't like it by the next day. Moving on. What else?
Shit, is this how we're supposed to do our
No.
Yeah, you're supposed to just fucking throw a
like
grenade
it.
out and let
Yeah.
it explode. Like, that's kind of how it is. But no, you never pulled a pin on
It's
the
how we
grenade.
do them for TikTok, only because you're limited. But like, here, pull the arm.
Yeah.
Goes long. He's
We
just,
should
something for
do
everyone.
this on
Something
like
for
TikTok.
everyone.
This should be our TikTok bit. Like,
I'm down
this
for
would
sure.
this would be actually pretty funny.
Once the cameras come next week, everything gets recorded start to finish in here.
No,
Oh,
I'm
man,
gonna
Ian
say
is so
something.
ready for
I'm gonna
TikTok
say
stardom.
something like awful. At
It
some
reminds me of
point.
those movies in like 5 seconds
Oh,
on
yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah.
The Titanic one where the guy's like, this ship can't sink, and then it just goes plung.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's so funny.
So good.
Those are good.
Oh my God, I had another movie. Oh, Belfast. So basically, I've been knocking off the
Oscar list.
The Oscar list. I've
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
caught up now. For Best Pictures, I pretty much watched. I have watched all Best Pictures. So I watched Belfast, King Richard. I did not like Belfast. It is a black and white. About an Irish family. I'm not going to go into detail what it's essentially about, but
during what era though?
man, I don't even want
They're
to get.
poor. Are they
They're poor.
Sounds like they're poor.
I don't really understand. I think that's part of my problem with it is I don't really care or know about this like time event. I think I also watched it at a time where I was like it felt like homework movie, and in truth it felt like it would have served better as a play. It's very much shot like a play. Kenneth Branagh directed, I believe it.
Semi-autobiographical. I
It
read,
is,
too.
yeah. So like, I don't know. It just did not hit. King. It's probably out of the Best Picture, it's the lowest, and then King Richard would be slightly above it. And then whatever, I can go through that. That's a different conversation. But
I can have an Oscar special.
you should have an Oscar special because
it's-
that's all
it's
I know.
Playing in my mind.
Will you have a
that-
Canadian Screen Award special?
Well, do you guys want to just come over and we'll watch the
No.
Oscars in live podcast and as it goes?
Ooh, that'd be
Oh,
fun.
maybe I don't like. I'll be
Like,
honest.
I'll just move this into there and we'll have 4
I
microphones and you just
love
watch
the
it.
Oscars so much that it's like I almost. Need,
Oh, you
like,
want to be in the zone.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Okay,
like.
all
I'm
right.
usually like that too
Yeah.
until I realized for like 3 years in a row I was somewhere like in Mexico or some Spanish speaking country because I was on a holiday and I had to watch it there, and they do it like the Super Bowl there, so they show it to you. And there's my favorite is the montage, and especially
Yeah.
the in memoriam. I just like I gotta soak in that in memoriam, and they're
what
showing
it's
it,
called.
and then someone will just like commentate over top, and they'll just be like, and they'll start talking.
Yeah.
Turns into a telenovela.
And it totally does. They talk over it like it's the Super Bowl. And so not only can I not hear I'm trying to just listen to the English underneath, but then they're talking over it, but not telling you what they're saying. They're just talking over it,
Yeah.
like commentating. And so I've kind of,
Like Snoop
I
Dogg
used to
and
be the
Kevin
same.
Hart.
I was like, I need everyone out of the, like, I need to see that,
Yep.
you know, but now I'm kind of over it.
So my best Oscar viewing story is we have a mutual friend, Allan and I, named Paul, and Paul has a movie website, and he would get
What's his website?
Shout out to Paul Little and Showbiz Monkeys.
showbizmonkeys.com.
Okay.
And so he'd do movie reviews, TV reviews, and he's been doing it for years, and he'd get these like passes to go to certain things. So he would go to LA all the time. He really likes it, and Vegas. And he would go to LA to cover the Oscars, and he would get through this website a credential pass to go the day before the Oscars, so they're setting up, and like 4 hours before the official red carpet. So basically it's when the press comes, and there's no stars. It's just like press is just hanging out there. So he's like, you should come. And it was me and like 2 other friends, and he got us all, I think he got us all credentials somehow. And we go to Vegas first, have a few days there, and drive to LA. We get to LA, and Paul and I were sharing a room, and we're getting in line to get our like passes. And he's like, pass me your passport. I'm like, you have it. I gave it to you in the hotel. You put it in the safe. And he's like, oh, I left it all in the safe. And we couldn't get our passes to go on the Oscar red carpet, which is fine because I honestly was like, I had this deep thought that was like, I'm going to jinx it for myself because I want to be at the Oscars one day. So I was kind of okay with it. But then, you know, I'm in LA and we were staying in a shitty hostel on Hollywood Boulevard. So I could see the fucking Oscar theater down the
Kodak
street,
Theater
the Kodak Theater with the
big
lights,
Oscar.
with the lights and everything.
Oh, man.
And so during the actual like ceremony, none of my friends cared to watch it. They all went out for dinner. I sat in this room that the AC was broken, so it was freezing in there, so I had a blanket wrapped up, sitting on the floor watching the Oscars, and then during commercial break, I'd go out on the balcony because it was warmer outside and look at the lights of the Oscars from the distance, and I'd be like, "This is the saddest day of my life."
God,
like I will never.
sad.
I felt like I don't know. It was just sad. I was just like, I'm so close yet so
That sounds
far.
like it would have been a fun trip though if you did it right.
Yeah.
It's true. I think so.
If you
It's
took care
very
of your
funny.
own passport.
I know, in some sense. So never hang out with Paul.
But showbizmonkeys.com.
No, showbizmonkeys.com.
One day we're gonna relive this trip.
Yes.
I've always, my friend Catherine and I are obsessed, and we've
I would
always
love to
wanted
go.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
her friend is from LA, and she still in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's back in LA now, but she said it's actually not as hard as you think to actually get into the theater, like to get up on the second. It's not as hard as you think, because that's what she told us anyway, and we're like, really?
Well, all we get is what we see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the theater's huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's overflow for all of us looky-loos to hang out and enjoy and be a part of it that's not interesting on television.
no,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
no, but
But you never that
know.
makes perfect sense.
I was there, I think, 3 days before they started, and I went into the Kodak Theater. And
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, do not open these doors or these whatever, and I just opened them and walked in. I was like,
Yeah.
excellent. But you couldn't get in the actual stage, but I was in the lobby and stuff, and that was exciting enough for me.
I want to just steal something. I'm
This-
very.
This feels like the
piece of the
preview
carpet.
to your Oscar special.
It does. It does. Everybody subscribe now because a post-Oscars, it'll be a post-Oscars, what did you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll gather en masse to debate because that's our punchline. And we'll go over like correct, not correct. What did you think of removing XYZ from the show? Like
I
we'll
hate it.
give a whole post. I hate it already.
Yeah,
I want.
just-
I
It'll
want
be back. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean,
Change is hard.
Yes, they're not always the most interesting, and there's definitely times where I'm like, if I've recorded it because I couldn't be home, and I'll be like, well, I don't know anything about this, so I'm going to fast
one of
forward
those people.
it. There's like if I haven't seen them, and I'm pretty good about usually watching at least every Best Picture, but I understand it, but it's wrong.
Yeah, it's if you're cutting for time. If someone's saying we're going to charge you less for your airtime, okay, sure. Financially, if this is what you're trying to do, I get it. But then why not trim the whole show in its entirety?
Absolutely.
Like include everybody, but just trim the show down.
Right.
For sure.
And then, like we don't need, like you could pre-record the speeches. How about that? And then they come up on stage and they get like a minute, right? To get all the big points in. And then if you want to see who else, just go to the Oscars webpage and listen to the full 3-minute speech. Because it isn't necessarily so much about the speech as it is about, we now see you. You helped with this. You won because your work is so good that it's recognized by your peers. That's what it is. We don't know you. But being recognized in front of your peers on national television shows the world that watches these things that you've made it.
And that you're important.
Yeah.
And that your job's important.
Yes, all these things. Like you're saying so much by not showing it.
I know.
And I get that it's only 3 minutes. Like you said, Ian, I sympathize with your production time. But to sacrifice talent for production time just doesn't seem fair at all
I
in
agree.
any way, shape, or
The
form.
wrong son died. It's just my line I say sometimes lately.
Is that from The Good Son?
Well,
No, that's from Dewey Cox.
Okay.
It's I don't know. Just anytime I end a sentence, the wrong son died.
What did you watch that you loved?
Peacemaker finished, and Peacemaker is fantastic, and I won't spoil the ending, but Peacemaker is a spinoff from the Suicide Squad. It's all James Gunn created, directed. I listened to a podcast of him just talking about the show itself, and he was saying how he basically wrote it so fast between directing Guardian of the Galaxy 3 that he didn't really he did single drafts of each. He was like, I had an idea, I kind of just went with it. I wrote them really fast, barely got a chance to re-edit them. We shot it, it worked. Somehow
You
this thing
guys
worked.
watched it all?
I haven't seen it
It's
yet.
great.
I am
it's
going to
fun.
resubscribe to Crave just so I can watch it.
You should 100%. It is a well worthy show to just jump.
I'll put you
into.
on my account just so you can.
I take
Holy
breaks.
shit!
Whoa.
That is saving you
I'll
thousands
save you
of
$20
dollars.
a month.
Do you have Apple TV?
That's
It's
what
the
I
only
do
one I
with.
don't have.
That's what I do with all of my streamers. Actually, is I share accounts with people.
We all should, right?
Yeah.
Pay it
Yeah, why
forward.
not?
I am a part of the Wong family under YouTube, and I am proud to say that. I tell people that all the time. I'm very proud to be part of.
My Spotify is paid for. My YouTube is paid for.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I'm under people's account, but I also share my Prime, I share my Crave, and I share my Disney.
I'm a student.
Yes, my Disney's all
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
share it with 4 other people.
Yeah. That one I share a lot. I just add.
But I'm the one that pays
counts.
for all of mine, actually.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Doesn't seem fair.
Everyone seems to come to you.
No, my friend has Fibe TV in Toronto, which gives you Crave.
Oh, wow.
there you go.
Right, so that's how I get all the Crave shows.
That's good. And that's the expensive one.
Yes,
Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
HBO.
I know. I got not to name drop Paul Little again, but after that fuck up with the passport, he redeemed himself by giving me his father's Crave account.
It's just the little things,
His
right?
father's? Did you say?
His father pays for it, and then when he first gave it to me, he said I was like, should I pay your dad? He's like, if you want. 2 years later, still haven't paid his dad.
Just show up with a
Amazing.
$200 check. and
Sometimes
be
you
like,
forget. Like my roommate, it was a comedian in the city. Shout out to Lee White from the old Crumbs. I don't know if you guys remember.
I know Crumbs. Yeah, I've seen
Lee
Crumbs
was- I
at
lived
Fringe
with-
Fest. Yeah.
Yes, I lived with Lee for 10 years. Also, huge Star Wars fan. Room that was just, I mean, you would have. Anyway, him and I used to, nerd out. This is kind of, I feel like I'm just hanging out with Lee in his room right now, getting high like we used to. This is sort
Nice.
of like what we used to do.
It's the vibe I'm trying to create. It's high-end nerd motif.
I really like it. I mean, sometimes when I'm not listening to, when you guys aren't saying something interesting, just kidding. You guys are always, I'm just staring at all
That's
your
fine if
unit
we-
beanies.
Wait, what did you just say?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
now she knows.
She was talking about you.
I just like to point out that there are, what are those things called again?
Those are
Oh, a door?
the Pops.
Yeah, Pops, yeah.
Funko
You've
Pops.
got Zoolander up there.
Yep.
And,
Oh, Funko Pops.
So we're going over. We got
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
I see He-Man.
We got what's her face from
Sally?
Orange Is the New Black.
To the audience at home,
Orange
they
is
are
the Black
pointing on a
Bouquet.
shelf full of toys.
Descriptive audio, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll post a picture of this. I've
You
got
should.
Hannibal Lecter, Ian Malcolm, Little Mermaid. What's his face from Castaway? Tom Hanks when he's completely.
What are
and
those things
utterly-
called again?
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops.
There's also He-Man. There's also
They're like the Beanie Babies of today.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah, they are. They really, really are, and they're everything.
Nothing says-
Everything gets a Funko Pop.
Nothing says man-child like having a Funko Pop.
Or a lightsaber.
Yes.
Sorry.
Or
You are
painting
right.
your Han Solo gun. That's actually a water pistol.
I gave you that gun.
He gave me that gun, and I just was like, "There's orange on it," and I
That's
colored
so
it.
Good.
And I gave you some. I gave you
also
Darth
gave me
Maul.
your Darth Maul. your
Yeah,
little
and
Darth
then
Maul
I
up
kept my
there.
lightsabers for now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ian has real estate involved in the show. He helps out with the room.
Yeah.
Do you?
You
Some
know
of
what?
this is your influence.
You know, I touch things here and there. I bring my dog. I chew out Michael on occasion.
Yeah.
I love it. It's really good.
Watch Peacemaker though.
Everyone should watch
Okay.
Peacemaker.
It is.
Okay.
Let me do
Twist
this for
my
you.
arm.
Yeah.
It is 10 Peacemaker helmets out of 10 Peacemaker.
Oh,
helmets.
another ace. I love it.
There you go.
Yeah. 10 human torpedoes.
Wow.
10 human torpedoes out of 10 human torpedoes.
So
10 cows.
when he says, I'll coattail this. When he says it's James Gunn, it is James Gunn doing a thing that is so brilliant because Peacemaker's character is a misogynistic, sexist, racist idiot. And he's just trying to be better. And like he makes references to believing in QAnon and just like very trailer park, very redneck, but he wants peace. And rooted in his character is this fight between who he was and how he was raised and who he wants to be, while being surrounded by like the best dick and fart jokes you could possibly imagine. Like
Wow.
John Cena deserves an Oscar
He is
for this
very,
performance.
very good in this.
You would not believe how good of an actor
like
he is.
very
Wow,
funny
that's
too.
impressive.
Also, and this has been talked about a lot, and you guys will bear witness to it when you do watch it. The most unskippable intro.
Yes.
Like I watch it every
You will
time.
never
I
skip
can't.
it.
I
Oh,
can't
really?
skip it. I can't fucking skip it every time. Yeah, I know. I messaged Michael being like, we got to learn it.
We do.
Like-
Just like 30 seconds of it is
I
fine.
hear I can see another TikTok video in your future.
Oh yeah.
There's
I know.
like 7 in the
It's all about
draft
about
box right
planning,
now.
never
Yeah.
doing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Have the
Like-
idea, but just be happy you had the idea.
Proactive thinking.
Okay, so but in James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie, he's a villain, right? Like
Yeah.
well, in the end,
essentially.
No spoilers, but I mean like
No,
basically he becomes
spoiler.
a villain. Yeah.
Spoiler, yeah. Yeah.
no spoilers, but I just.
he becomes a villain at the end. So like, is that a continuation of that movie? Of that
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Right where it leaves
But did
off.
you the end credits again? Spoilers. The end credits of the Suicide Squad is they like there's doctors and they go, oh man, a building fell on him and he's still alive, and that's how like the after
yeah,
the
yeah,
after
yeah,
credits
right,
of
right,
that.
right,
So,
right. Yeah, I
and
remember
that was spinning off to what the series was. Apparently, they went to James Gunn. They said like, we want to do a show.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do, and which character do you want? And he was like, I want Peacemaker, and they were all like, what? You know, like, and he just thought it was like, he's like, I can see what this could be. And it's definitely like probably one of the most unique out of like, it's nothing like what Disney's doing, which is like, I think that's the best part. Like, I think it's actually the best thing out of those superhero shows in the last year.
I put this way ahead of Justice League. Like the thing.
Oh, I mean like show wise.
Oh, show-wise, yeah,
like WandaVision
sure.
and Loki.
Yes.
And all that. Yeah.
I missed a lot. I mean, I watched Loki, but I'm burning out. I
Yeah, that's
guess,
fair.
A little bit on the superhero.
So is Scorsese. So is Ridley Scott. Everybody's got something to say about them these days.
But I love them.
Yeah.
But my husband is not into superhero stuff. And my old roommate Lee and I he was my, like, we went to every movie together. Like, he's a comic book fan from birth. So it's hard now because if we were watching something together, it can't be any of those things.
Right.
So I have to watch them alone, and then that's a whole nother.
Your life
time
sounds
of
really
my
hard.
You can come watch like Marvel movies with me.
Okay,
Yeah, watch
Allan.
parties. Yeah, we'll have a
You
watch
guys-
party.
I need people to go see. I mean, I'm not. I go to movies alone, but it's more fun when you can.
Yeah.
Talk
It's a shared
It is.
experience.
It is a shared experience.
I went to Spider-Man opening weekend, and it was amazing because the entire theater was like cheering
Let's
and
go!
like
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
I know.
It was one of the best theater experiences I had.
Oh man.
There's just a sense of humanity wrapped up inside the asshole, and then you find out why he's an asshole. Like his dad is the reason why he is so fucked up. And it's just the right amount of everything. It's the right amount of funny. It's the right amount of serious. It
was the show I was not. We did an episode here. We watched all the trailers and we were giving like quick
we
reviews
were
on,
yeah.
You know, and I remember saying I don't fucking care about Peacemaker. This show's
I
gonna be
agreed with you.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like I won't care about the show. And I remember watching the first episode and I was like, this is actually okay. I was like, and then I watched second. I was like, this is so good. And I'm like, I am so impressed with what the show is doing. So
and he knows.
Yeah.
That he needs to do a good job.
He's in on the joke. Yeah.
Because right? For years, every Monday night, John Cena in big baggy gangster shorts, rapping on
Michael
the
was
WWE.
doing a face wave to his face.
Yes, that is what. Yeah, that's just what that was his move.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was a huge wrestling fan, but like, and then this,
right?
And you were like, I thought The Rock was going to be the only one they were going to let do
Yeah.
that, but he's outpaced The Rock in a very short time. Like he's almost on The Rock's heels. The Rock still has to do something dramatic for me to really be like, okay, you've got all the pieces.
Because John Cena was the most dramatic in Furious 9.
I haven't even seen him but he's Toretto's brother, right?
He's
There's a
Toretto's brother.
Furious 9.
Where have you been?
Oh my God, I don't know.
He's been
after the
she's
first
been
one.
at Disneyland.
Yeah,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's true. There is a ride there, and it's
The
the worst
Universal
ride.
ride it is.
Is probably the worst theme park ride I've ever been on in my entire life.
We went in.
My
We went up
entire
to
life.
it, and some guy was like, "I don't know you, but I don't want to see you have a wasted time." And he was like, "Just don't do it."
Did you do it anyway?
No, we went. We left. I took his word for it.
I've never,
Wow.
I've never been on anything that was that bad.
Can you imagine that guy going
It's
home and be
brand
like,
new.
I fucked with that guy so well. Got him good. That piece
Can
of
you
shit will
imagine? I'm
never.
like, it was the best ride
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, it would be the one.
It's-
All right.
Yeah.
Well, remind me to ask you guys for advice before I go to Disneyland.
Oh,
Before we go on
Rule,
any
Allan.
rides.
rule number
Allan.
one: any theme park, be there at the crack of dawn. Like when
Absolutely.
it opens.
Before the crack of dawn.
Go to the back of the park first because everybody in their head goes front to back. If you go back to front,
Also go counterclockwise.
Yeah.
there are tricks.
Also, you find
Yeah.
the biggest guy there, you beat the shit out of him. And you say, fuck you.
Establish
I
your
own this again." You have
dominance.
to establish your
You know?
dominance at a park.
Find your gang.
Yeah. Oh, you don't fucking share your food. You eat with an arm out and you like fork it in fast.
Eat in the bathroom so nobody sees you. Oh, and don't go on any water rides because you actually have to pay to dry off.
That's true. Only
What the
Universal.
fuck?
I'm not kidding.
How do you dry?
Yeah.
Like what? They don't give
They
you
have
towels?
these things out there, and they're like $5 US
Blow
to
up?
like
Yeah.
heat and warm you. But
Yeah.
in when I go, I always go in September. It's
Yeah.
still 30
It
degrees
is,
every day,
yeah,
so you're
yeah.
like it's pleasant.
Right.
But if you go, I went
in February. Yes.
I went in February
Nice.
2020, right before this whole thing shut down, and I
Sorry, what whole thing?
I don't know. There was like this thing that
Sorry.
happened in the
The
world.
cold that went around for
The cold,
2
yeah.
years.
I'm kidding.
And we went on the I don't know if you because Universal the big it's like not Rocky and Bullwinkle but
It's the Rocky and Bullwinkle characters.
yes.
It's the ones that should be canceled, actually.
yeah it's terrible.
Itchy and scratchy.
No, it's everybody
It's like
from
the Mountie and like
Yeah. I know you're
and the
talking
dog,
about. Yes.
Peabody dog,
Yeah,
yeah.
all those characters.
the guy with the
Yep.
evil guy. Anyway, they have an entire
Boris and
huge
Natasha?
Kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
But they have an entire huge water ride based on
Okay.
it, and everyone's like, everyone goes on it because it's a super fun water ride. But
Yeah.
like, everyone's like, who the hell are these characters, and why do I care? But you get so soaked on that ride, and I was
do.
so cold in February. I was freezing to death all day. I regretted it all day for sure.
So bring
I was like,
garbage
you're not
bags.
getting my $5.
I have to retract. I was in Arizona in February. It was November I was in November
Oh, okay.
2019.
November
I was
should
2
be
months
nice.
before you went. Like we were 3 months apart when we
yeah.
went because it was a birthday present for that year to go to Star Wars.
I have an annual pass, which is hilarious because I live in Manitoba. But
Do you get Florida rates
it's
though?
cheaper. No, I don't. But it's cheaper if you're going to go
Yes,
for
if
more than
you're
one
gonna-
day.
yeah.
You might as well get an annual pass.
Well, we only did the one. We only did the one day in Disney Hollywood Studios because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't care about the palace. I don't care about the rides. And then we spent 2 days at Universal.
Yeah, it's
So
easy to do because there's
it,
2 parks now.
Yeah,
And they're building a third one.
The Marvel one, is that the one you're talking about?
No, Universal is building, like, it's called Epic Universe, and they're
Oh.
building. I'm not sure if it's like Nintendo is going to be there, and I think their Wizarding World is expanding to possibly to include the new Fantastic Beasts movies, and there's going to be a
Oh,
Quidditch
great.
pitch, and it's like all you can see is the plans right now. So it sounds like and it's a
Wow.
whole new theme park, like a third theme park there.
The Crimes of Dumbledore.
That'll
Oh, wait,
that'll
no,
be
that's
built
not
in
right.
6 months because they'll do that for 24 hours a day. That's how Disney
Yeah.
rolls.
Yeah.
It's nuts how they.
That
move
would be
It
kind of
is.
cool to like bring Nintendo World to America, like North
Yeah,
America.
because they have one in
Japan.
yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
I
Mar.
didn't know
That's where Mario Kart
It
is,
looks
right?
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like real life Mario.
Anyways,
Kart.
we could talk about
I should
movies.
travel.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
I'll close this out. I'll close this out. You're right because we got another hour of shit to do and I want to get it all in. So my offering this week is a proper sized reacher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I actually watched the trailer
So good.
because I wanted to see. Everyone kept saying how big this guy was, and I
Alan
was like,
Hitson is
that guy's
massive.
fucking huge.
Like every pose he does is just all.
He makes
arms.
me like, I don't know, watching him makes me feel small. Like, and I haven't really watched the show. I've just seen clips and trailers.
Alan, have you?
Oh, he's perfect.
No, I haven't.
I binged it all in a weekend, and it was
It's that good?
fantastic.
I
Oh,
killed
fuck.
3 episodes
Yeah.
last night, and
What's it on?
Prime.
Prime.
It's on Prime.
It's already picked up for season 2.
Yeah, I've heard it's
after
fun.
the first weekend.
It's smart. The
Yeah.
writing is really good. It's exactly what it is. Kevin Smith, Fat Man Beyond, is where I picked this up. I was listening to the episode this week, and he's just like, if you want to watch someone get the shit kicked out of them and feel good about it when they're done, watch Reacher. And I liked the movies, but when I found out that there was a series of books that had a man who was 1.5 feet taller in them, and they had casted Cruise, I knew that after, so it didn't really wreck with my enjoyment of the movie because I was like, okay, this guy kicks ass. He shows up. He's a stranger. No one knows him. It's kind of like the
not Dirty Harry.
Clint Eastwood. I know what you're getting at. Man with No Name.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
Town to Town.
Yojimbo is also Kurosawa.
Sure. Yeah. Barry Samurai. Yeah. I think was that Diamond out there. That's.
No, that was her going.
Oh, okay. That's Diamond. I'm sorry.
Yes, Krystle can sound like a dog
I
in
sure
pain.
can.
It sounded like a dog who wanted a belly rub. But so I wasn't ruined with the movies. And then when the TV show came along, everyone was like, this is what the books
Yeah.
Yeah.
were talking about.
I've heard this too. I haven't read the books, but I've heard this.
There's like 20 books. Like
Yeah.
we're in for like 20 years of Reacher if they really want to do it.
It's great.
Wow.
And it reset. You
He
can
starts
see,
getting smaller.
but it resets each season. I think it's going to be like Goliath with Billy Bob
Oh,
Thornton,
yeah.
where it's the
Oh,
same
yeah,
character,
yeah.
but we just transport him to a different town.
Right.
And it,
Right,
and
right.
it- so, or does it change?
Or
as it goes
Quantum
through?
Leap.
It doesn't.
You're not telling me anything. Like,
Oh.
is it the same
Oh, you
story?
mean no,
Goliath?
the entire season?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one
Okay.
story.
All right.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how
Yeah,
are they
that's what
gonna-
I've heard too. Is that it would be basically one book per season.
That's so smart because it's condensing, and you've already got a fan base. But there's a scene where in this season, some guy's obviously involved with the wrong people, and they both get arrested, and they're in the jail cell together. And a group of guys comes in, and Reacher's explaining how this guy's going to have to exert his dominance or be somebody's girlfriend for the next, however long his stay is, right? And these guys come in, and they start to threaten this guy, and they take his glasses away, and then you just see these 2 giant tree trunks of legs jump off the bunk and beat the living fuck out of these guys. And when he beats somebody up, it's violence aside, it's so fulfilling.
It's very it's very convincing.
It is.
And there is still something, I don't know what it is. It's our animalistic nature.
Yes.
We just love to root for like this big, like for strength, like
Yes.
male masculine strength that is also smart and he's
Yeah.
also good-hearted. Like he's
He's not a bad
obviously-
guy at all.
No, and so there's something very primally satisfying about
Caveman,
this show. Exactly.
Like your core instincts as a person for survival. Just watching it, and like, I mean, if I ever felt like I was in a jam, he could pick me up in his arms, and I feel so safe.
Andre the Giant.
Like he's just a. I want him to be in the He-Man live action remake.
Like men respect him, women
I
would
would-
love him.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like
Wow, okay.
he's
He's the Don
universally-
Draper of this world.
Oh, for sure.
With steroids.
I'm
Yeah.
in.
With masks.
So here's an important question.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Reacher or Gilded Age?
I'm gonna try a Gilded
you
Age.
won't.
I'm going to.
I mean-
Just to shut you up,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't have to sit on a lie. I'm gonna try it.
You have to see one.
Yeah, I feel these days with the way television's written, they've skipped past the one. It takes 1 to 3 episodes to hook you. Now
It's
it's
true.
probably gonna hook you by the end of the first episode.
Is there
Right,
nudity in it?
There might be a breast.
I'm
or
not
two,
gonna
I'm
watch
not
it.
sure.
I'm not gonna watch it. You gotta confirm the nudity, and I'll be in.
Oh my god, you sound like my husband. Every time we turn on a new show, he's like, "Is there boobs in this?" I'm like, "I don't know. I have just started." Well, there better be boobs in this.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that, you guys? Come on.
My dude knows.
That's 7 years of being spoiled with Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
It's true.
and then
it really
expecting
did.
every HBO production to
Yes.
have tits and dick.
I
in
need
it.
horny
Yeah.
shows. I love Euphoria.
Speaking of boobs and dick, Pam and Tommy.
Oh,
I watched that too, yeah.
I've caught up. Yeah, yeah.
I've seen 2
I'm out.
episodes.
I haven't tried it yet. She
Okay,
won't-
can I?
she won't
So
do it
here's the
with me.
thing. Sorry, and very
Yeah.
very important question because I'm caught up. I won't spoil it or anything, but
Okay.
we all kind of know what the story is.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I saw a tape. Is it anywhere near what?
well,
I've
so
seen?
okay, that's the question because I was talking to a bunch of like friends of mine, and they were like, a couple of them were like, I didn't know this tape existed, and they're the same age as me.
Oh.
And I
They didn't know.
Interesting.
no, and they never seen the tape either. That's you know.
They
So
didn't
I
download that on LimeWire?
so I guess so. Well, okay, one. Kazaa or Morpheus. LimeWire came later.
That's true.
there was also-
I remember Kazaa. There was Bear Share.
Bear Share is about to say too. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel the pirating
Yes.
and I understand it,
Yes.
but I don't approve.
I wonder if it's still out there on like Pirate Bay or something.
Well, I usually use. Oh my god,
No.
I usually use X Hamster for all my needs, and it's great, and I like it. Everyone has a site. That's my site, and I was like watching Pam and Tommy, and was like, I'm I need a refresher of what the movie looks like.
Uh-huh,
So I
watch
went
the
back
original.
and I want because they reenact some of the videos in Pam and Tommy, and I was like, I guess I just want to refresh my brain because I haven't seen it since I was like 15.
I can't wait to cut this video.
Oh my god, it was like last week was Fleshlight.
but isn't it weird when you're watching that show and you're like, Colin, I just got to stop it and remember that I'm on Disney Plus. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just so
It's
weird.
so funny
Like
that-
his penis is talking to the camera, and you're like, "Hey, just one more second. Yes, I am on Disney Plus."
It's
Okay,
funny
just
that
make
Disney
sure.
Plus has a huge warning on each episode. They're
Yes.
just like,
Yeah.
by the way, there is sex in this and nudity because they show her topless.
Oh, yeah.
Lily James, and
Yeah.
Lily James is fucking fantastic in
She's
that.
great.
She's amazing.
Sebastian
great.
Stan,
Yeah.
I give her leave. Like I think
I
he's
think he's good. I think he's
they're
doing a
both
great
great.
job.
I
They're
think
both
he's
great.
I think he's way too big. I think he saw a clip like he's doing an SNL impersonation in my opinion. He's almost too big every
I
time.
see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I'm sure Tommy Lee is big like that, but I don't think he's like generally like that all the time. Like that feels like he watched a clip and was just like, I'm gonna be 10 Tommy all the
I
time.
don't know. I think maybe he is.
Maybe
that
is that psychopath. I
'Cause
never
to
read
match
Tommy
her.
Land.
I mean,
I
like,
didn't
they-
know even the first episode. I was like, is he that much of a dick? Like I don't know that much about.
Well,
I just didn't
did
know.
you read the Rolling Stone article?
I didn't.
It's-
This is all new. Like this is. I mean,
You
I
should
know
read
about
it.
the tape, and I know, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So this is like, it's kind of interesting just to learn about this story
It's-
in general. But
it-
like,
So sorry, you've seen the tape though.
I've seen the tape.
Yeah,
Yes.
when you were younger?
Yes.
Like, did
Yeah, when I was
everyone watch it
younger.
when they were younger?
Yeah,
Okay.
when I was younger, it was. I think
'Cause
we all like watched it
I
together.
used the tape. I don't
Like
know
I've
if I
used
watched
the tape. Well, like, but that's the funny
I
thing
didn't
because
give
like,
it a critical eye or anything.
like, well, and it's the show's so nostalgic. Like, they show a scene where they go on the website where they're selling the tape, and I remember that exact website. I remember as a kid going to it, being like, "Oh my god, how do I get this tape?" Like, I remember before I knew how to pirate.
Like in first world problems.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't know how to pirate. Eventually, like that's how pirating. I think I learned how to pirate like a thing, so I could like watch Pam and Tommy.
Yeah, it probably made a lot of men.
Oh no,
Figure out how
100%.
to
That's
use
why I'm so
the- yeah.
shocked. My friends that were like my age or a year younger
Didn't know. That
did
is
not-
weird.
That is weird, or never seen it or experienced it.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe I'm just living life. I don't know what that means.
Definitely. You're definitely living life.
Hey.
What do you think of it, Alan?
I think it's a great show. Yeah, it's super. Yeah, they're amazing. Like Lily James. I mean, like there's obviously like prosthetics but they go all out. Like you know, to make it
It's a
really
little, it's over
true
the
to
top.
life.
Yeah.
Like it's
The tone is very weird.
And I didn't know about all
Yes.
this. I mean, obviously, when it actually this all happened, I was pretty young still, and I mean, like I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know how the tape came
Yeah,
to market
same.
or any of that
Yeah.
stuff. So this is really
It's
interesting.
funny how, like, in reality, none of us cared to know till
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Now we're
It's true.
comfortable knowing. Now we're
Yeah.
comfortable with it being in our search.
I think I was
engine.
always kind of like comfortable with. No, I'm kidding.
But it is an interesting story. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a story behind it at all.
yeah.
I've suggested it multiple times, and there's like with your husband, you were saying, Krystle, and with Shauna, she's like, I'm fucking watching that with you. And I'm like, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
But she watched every episode of Peacemaker. She gave it a shot with me, and she was like, I like this.
Yep.
Like, she was.
That's well. I got him to watch The Boys, and he loved it. So
The Boys
But-
Boys and Peacemaker are how to get people who either are dying out on superheroes
Yeah.
or don't like them and want a new take.
Or Invincible.
yes,
Right? Invincible too.
I think Invincible as well.
Invincible frustrates me.
Why?
Okay, we're gonna have the conversation another time.
Oh, man. Wait, but going back to Pam and Tommy, do you consider it a horny show?
A horny show.
Because I don't think it's a horny show.
No, I
No,
don't think
it's-
so.
You
That's what I
guys
was saying. I
saw
think the
this- I'm gonna
tone's off. I think.
You think it should be more?
I think. Well, I'm not saying I wanted to be more horny. I just think the show itself, there's something really off with the tone. It's by the same director of I, Tonya, and he's done other stuff.
Oh,
And you can kind of feel that vibe, but it's hard to kind of tell if the show wants to be a comedy or this like
Yeah,
like a crime drama, like a true crime scenario, like
Yeah.
a like a American crime.
Well, the
story.
first episode to the second episode felt so different. 'Cause I've only seen
Yeah.
the first two, and I remember watching the first one, and then the second one just had a completely different.
Yeah.
It almost felt like a different director.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah.
if.
They have been flipping directors throughout.
Oh, there
so-
we go.
To me, it feels
But-
more like a biopic, you know, and just about these really crazy characters that have an element of comedy to it, and has a little bit element of drama to it. Like, but I don't know. I found
It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. There's a lot of different things going on, especially even like Seth Rogen's character. You know, just like, and
He's the distributor in this
was great.
story, I believe. He's the guy who.
The Carpenter.
So sorry,
like,
you haven't watched it?
No, I'm the only one. Like I what did we watch instead? I brought that up, and we watched Amazing Race instead. This
All
week.
right. Well, we will watch Peacemaker, and you'll watch Pam and Tommy.
There we go.
And I will
And then
sit
when we
quietly.
when we do the Oscar thing, we'll all come back and compare about it. All
There you
right.
go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's your buffet of what the fuck you should watch this week.
It was a long one.
They're always long. That's the best part of doing this part of the show.
I love it.
We should probably give our listeners like a timestamp of when this starts and ends because they're just like annoyingly. Sorry, guys. You should know that. I'll do better. But we got a laundry list of shit to talk about today. So we're gonna go top to bottom. We'll go in the list as ordered, so I don't
That's
fuck
what.
up any of
Jeez.
you.
No, never mind.
Bottom.
I don't know.
Start in the middle and work our way out.
Yeah. I was still in the X hamster thing.
I was just gonna say, is the X hamster still rolling around?
X
in your-
videos, too many fucking like clickbait stuff. You gotta just.
Family Court of 5th District,
So,
Los
first
Angeles County
question.
now in session.
Let's
The
open
Honorable
up the
Barbara
floor.
Munson
This
presiding.
one,
All right.
This one, I have a scene that inspired me to ask this of you guys, and I'm curious if anybody else is going to have it because we don't care here if 3 or 4 of us pick the same thing. It just means how strong that
is,
scene
yeah.
or actor or presence is. So the first question, Alan, you will answer is, what is the best improvised scene in a movie that you didn't know till after that it wasn't in the script?
Oh man. Okay, this is where I wish I was had prepared for these questions. I'll actually
Oh,
just
you
say
didn't prepare?
I will actually just say this is nothing. I'll give a shout out to shoot. No, go to somebody else. Come back
Okay.
to me.
That's fine. Warm up. I'll go first.
Yes.
That's what we do on the show. Is I'm always the one who gets his head chopped off first. So, this is a tough call.
You have 2 or you have more?
I
than
have
one?
3.
Oh, well, just tell them all.
Okay, all right. So we'll
Give
go
one
in
to
order.
Allan.
So,
He's thinking over there, you guys. Leave him alone.
40-year-old virgin with the waxing scene,
Right? Yeah.
which is like you could write lines for that,
Yeah.
Kelly
but
Clarkson.
that's what's brilliant about it is,
Right.
and how many cuts and how many lines that he threw in on that. But improvisation, not in the sense of what you say, because you can say anything, you can just edit it, but it's letting it happen. It's agreeing to be waxed and improvising off of the pain
And knowing that like you can't redo that for another how many weeks.
Like once it's off, and you have to
Right.
do another take, it's all over again.
Right.
So you're not like you can't get hyped up for
Right.
waxing, because waxing is a 1, a 2, and a 3 and a done. And I've had it done once, and like
Your chest?
lower, and
Sorry.
your belly?
lower.
Your
I'm
I
not.
dated a girl when I was
not getting
really
it.
young, and she was just anti-body hair, so I was like, take it all, doc.
When
And
she
I'll
was
do
young or
anything for
you were
you.
young?
I was young. I was
Okay.
like early 20s.
And how old was she?
Later 20s.
And she didn't like your body hair or every body
She didn't like my body hair.
This is
yours
more
in
important than
particular.
that. This is very important. I need to know the details of the story.
You want me to lie down? Talk about this? Anyway, so I did a full body waxing once, and like the asshole is just something that there's no amount of pain
Yeah.
that I could
I
put
kinda wanna
into
try
the
this now.
sentence to tell
you should try it at least
You
once.
just
Yeah.
just like,
I'm actually very like I don't like body hair on me, but like
you know those scenes in like animes
into it.
where the guy like bites his teeth down and they blow up in his mouth because he's biting, like from Kill Bill.
Yeah,
in the animated scene.
Yeah.
That's what I was. Like,
that
just
scene
buck-
also improv. I'm kidding.
Anyway, so that's where I'll start to warm up. The two that are really improvised is Quint at the end of or not end of Jaws, but the USS Indianapolis scene. He was so drunk when he showed up the
Yes.
first day,
I know
and
this tale.
Spielberg got really mad at him, so he went home that night and got drunk again and called him and said, I want to do it all over again, and then improvised the story of the sharks. The story of the men
Oh.
screaming
I
at
didn't know
night.
that.
Like, that's all him. And I believe he was in the Navy. I don't think he was on that ship, but I
Right.
believe he's an old Navy kook. Plus, he's a playwright, too. So he's got
So good in
he's
that.
got a hand at writing. Lastly, though, the real one.
I think I know which one you're going to say. And
What movie is it from? Take a guess.
Indiana Jones.
No.
Okay.
No, it's from The Departed.
Oh, I don't even know there's an improv scene.
Oh.
The bar scene where he says, I got a fucking rat in my crew.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's
and you
improv.
hear a clunk, clunk, clunk on
Yeah.
the floor. Nicholson brought a real gun on set, not loaded.
Yeah.
Scorsese didn't know.
Yeah.
The crew didn't know.
Can't do that anymore.
Can't do that anymore. But he brought a real gun on set. So when you see him put that gun,
Yeah.
that gun is not in the script.
Yeah.
DiCaprio's reaction is 100% sheer fear.
Interesting.
So to imply how crazy he was as a character, because Nicholson's character is very loosely based on Whitey Bulger.
Right. Yes.
It just pulled from, not
Which Johnny Depp played in another movie.
Black
right?
Mass. Yeah, he
Yeah.
actually played Whitey Bulger, and the story of Whitey Bulger being a FBI rat and all that stuff. But the menacing shit that comes from it. Also the she fell funny scene. That whole thing was him trying to make
That's funny.
his
That's a
character,
good
because
line.
when you hear him say she fell funny, it implies that he's killed other people and they fall normally.
Right.
Right. So he's giving his character a little bit more
Backstory.
like more backstory
Yeah.
about how menacing he is. Because now when you notice how people fall when you shoot them in the back of the head, you got to shoot a lot of people.
Yeah.
To
To
know
have
that
a-
someone felt
Yeah,
funny.
Yeah, right.
What's the norm?
But it's the gun scene. That gun
Yeah, yeah.
scene just being so out of bounds. It's not right. It's unsafe.
Oh,
but
I
it's-
can't wait. I mean, I've seen that movie 15 times.
Watch it again,
So,
and as soon as he cuts to DiCaprio, like you can see DiCaprio swallow and like move back in his chair, and you're like, "Whoa, this is really good acting." And you're like, "Nope, that's sheer panic in his
Wow.
eyes." So those are my offerings.
Love are
Krystle,
good.
you go next.
oh, okay. So I have two.
Yeah,
So
you did this on set with
the
people,
fir-
which is what I thought
Well,
was
no,
really
and
cool.
these are mine. Actually,
Yeah.
I didn't take it. They didn't.
That's fine if they.
I was
yeah.
shocked at how like they couldn't come up with any when I wouldn't let them use their phones.
Yeah.
But one of my favorites is in Pretty Woman when Richard Gere's
yes.
showing her the necklace.
Good call.
And
Whoop!
she goes to reach for it, and and he slams it. And
Yes.
it's such a famous
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, yeah.
That's such
He
a
just
good
did that, and you can see for a moment where she looks up and she's laughing, and then she looks to the right because you can kind of tell that she's
Like,
laughing with
yeah.
the crew. But that's one of my favorite ones.
Yep.
It's
That's
such
a
Yeah,
good-
I remember that.
That's
It's
very
iconic.
endearing.
It's
endearing.
iconic.
It's
And
real.
then-
It's in every clip of like when you show
Right.
the best
Hollywood.
clips in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Of course.
Whoop!
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just remember this because I watched, I think it was behind the scenes thing of Silence of the Lambs when the crew were all watching. And I mean, this is my favorite thing about Anthony Hopkins is he never blinks when the camera's on him. And I find it's incredibly hard to not blink. So when I was starting like acting training for film, I was like, how do people do this without their eyes watering and bursting? So if you watch the slow pan on him and he's doing the fava beans
Yeah,
Chianti
That's
thing.
Chianti.
I guess they were doing like the pan on him, and then I guess he just went, and that wasn't in the script. He hadn't done it before. No one did it, and I guess everyone on set just went, oh, we all just like wanted to crawl out of our skin.
Right.
And now that's such a famous thing, but
Yeah.
that was improvised.
That movie is just the best close-ups. Like
Oh,
that
God,
movie is
it's
all
so
like
good.
it's like 80% close-ups, and
Yeah.
it's like
Who is that?
the
Who's the
best.
director again?
I can't think of the name. offhand right now.
starts
One Best
with a D.
Picture.
Yes.
It's gonna start with a D.
I know.
Yeah, his last
I'll
name's gonna
find
start with a D.
It's a French name, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what I do too.
Yeah.
Just keep saying words until
Yeah.
something close comes up. Jonathan Demme.
Demi.
Demme.
Demme.
Who's also, what else does he have for credits here? We'll go to his IMDb page. See, this is why having a 20-year-old kid just sitting in the corner outside being like, it's Jonathan Demme, you idiots!
Yeah. Pay me.
Rachel Getting Married. Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, I've never seen it.
I've never actually seen it. I know. I've heard good things.
It's a story of
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway's story of two sisters, one who's well on her way to living a great life, and Hathaway's character is getting out of rehab. She's caused the family a bunch of problems, and it's the day her sister's getting married. So she
Maybe
comes
I've
home,
seen
and then
it.
like all hell breaks
Sounds
loose with the
saucy.
family. But also Philadelphia adaptation. He was
Right.
a producer
Oh,
on.
Yeah, right.
Just a bunch of crap.
Right.
Just a bunch of crap after that. No big deal.
Right. Philadelphia was his like big one that after that you got the blank check, I think.
Yeah.
It's
So
such a
good.
beautiful fucking sad story.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I
The
just watched
soundtrack
it a
is
few
still
days-
one of the best soundtracks in film history, in my opinion, because
Oh,
it's
wow.
it's
That's-
collecting.
Philly.
It's all Philly, but like it's just collecting some of the saddest songs in
Great.
like, recorded.
True.
Like it really was like
all
we're
the
gonna make
opera
this.
and-
Yeah. Like everything. That's a soundtrack that makes a movie better,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But well, there was something about Silence of the Lambs too. There was another thing that.
That Anthony Hopkins did that was amazing, probably.
I was going to say that, like, last episode we were talking about how we want to see an actor break their mold, and I want to see Anthony Hopkins go, like, dick and fart comedy. Because if you watch him on Instagram, he is the funniest,
He's
kookiest
very
old-
funny.
He's
Yeah.
very
Yeah, he's very
animated.
funny.
That just reminded me of that scene in Extras where Liam Neeson's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do a comedy. Remember? And he did
Yeah,
a
yeah,
thing
yeah.
about how he's like, and then Ricky Gervais, like, he wants to do a comedy with Ricky Gervais, and he comes in
I
and
didn't
he's
know.
like, no, God, it's so good.
It's
and he's
so
like, I'm
funny,
going to
yeah.
do this. He's like, okay, let's improvise a scene. And he just can't be funny. It's so good. It's, I don't know. Have you seen Extras?
Nope. I know about it, but I
it's
haven't
so
seen
funny.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
the
one of the
Daniel
funniest
Radcliffe
shows
one's
of
my
all
favorite.
time. Oh my gosh, I was just
Is
showing
this like
clips
movie?
last night.
Is this like movie 43?
No, it's just like it's real actors on
Playing
set,
themselves,
playing
but
themselves,
heightened
they're-
versions of
yeah. So like
themselves.
Daniel Radcliffe's on set, and it's like in between scenes, and he'll talk to the extras, and he's trying to hit on the one woman, and he's like trying to be super cool, and he pulls out like a loose condom. He goes, "Oh yeah, just a condom." Like he starts,
Yeah, and he's pulling out cigarettes, and she's like, "Oh, you smoke too?" He's like, "Yeah, just a
Yeah.
little bit." Like,
Yeah,
and
he's trying to
then
be so
Warwick Davis
cool.
is in it, Liam Neeson, Al Pacino's in it,
Patrick Stewart.
Kate Winslet,
Yeah.
and
I'm
Patrick
gonna watch
Stewart
Ian
plays
McKellen.
a
I'm
pervert.
really
Ian
this is
McKellen's very funny.
right
Oh,
after
Ian
Gilded
McKellen.
Age.
Sir Ian.
Ian.
that's a great show.
Gandalf, you shall not pass. It's so good.
It's so good.
It's probably one of my favorite shows about film and,
And it's-
making fun
It's
of.
the best Ricky Gervais show in my
for
opinion.
sure.
Even better than Afterlife, because Afterlife.
I haven't watched
just-
Afterlife.
I've only seen the first. Oh God, it's dark though.
Afterlife is good, but Extras is funnier.
Yeah.
Way funnier.
It's clever humor. It's
My
smarter.
friend-
I can
Uh,
only do one Afterlife at a time. It's very depressing.
My
but
friend
funny.
Michael calls it irritainment. Like that's what Ricky Gervais does so well.
Yeah, that's a good
Irritainment.
way to say it.
Yeah,
Irritainment.
Irritainment because you feel he can't watch Ricky Gervais because he's like, I just want to run out of the room because I'm so embarrassed for everything his character's doing, which is so successful.
Yeah,
Right?
Derek
Like,
makes you want to leave.
Derek,
The Office makes you want to leave.
Yes, but
yeah.
then the best thing about
The Golden Globes makes you want to leave.
oh God, yes, but the best thing about I just think British comedies in general is that they're funny and then they bring it down with this like humanity. You know, like you watched The Office and at the end when he's crying in his office being like, please don't make me redundant. Like they bring it so dark to you and it's so real.
Yeah, well, I always hear people who I never watched the original. I only watched the American version, but I've seen enough to know it. But
I'm the opposite.
well, and that's where the people who grew up on that one and then had the American one, and the American one's just too funny.
It's just too silly.
yeah, like it doesn't have
They're
the
different shows. Yeah.
They
very
are.
much so.
Yeah.
Allan.
Okay, so I thought about it. I'm gonna give a shout out to local director Sean Garrity. and his last
Were
movie.
you just texting him now? Give me a fucking movie.
No.
Fucking
I was trying to remember the name of it because I actually blanked on it. But his last movie was called "I Propose We Never See Each Other After Tonight."
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. What was that? What was that title again?
I propose we never see each other after tonight.
Also,
I missed it. One more time.
Anyways, I think it's on Crave or on the stream.
It was on. Yeah, it was on Crave.
And it was shot here, local actors.
Such a good movie.
And I didn't realize this after I saw it, but it was completely improvised.
Are you serious?
Whole movie.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously they had
breakdown.
bones,
exactly.
But all the dialogue completely improvised by those actors.
Most of his movies are.
That's amazing.
improvised.
That
Or
is
some,
amazing.
good
I'm
chunk
always
of them.
impressed.
Also, initially, it was supposed to be called something social. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, The Social or
the
something?
social, marital
Because there was-
social or something. It's about a wedding social.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, at the end.
Yeah.
The end is the wedding social. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
The one
That's
of
the
best,
climactic
It's the best
scene.
part of the
Yeah.
whole movie.
That's the best part of anything about living in Manitoba, guys.
Socials?
Socials.
Midnight
I love
salami
socials.
sandwiches and pickles on.
Yes.
Yeah. Salami on your shoulder.
Yes, let me.
So have to.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't know.
I'm really glad
Sounds
that
like
that you mentioned that. I didn't know it was.
I had no
when I
idea either.
interviewed him and I talked to him about that movie, that didn't come up at all.
Oh.
At all. Like he didn't even say.
Am I wrong?
No, you're 100% right.
You're right.
You are
Okay.
right.
Yeah, you're right. I don't trust.
I'm
me.
pretty sure I heard that.
No,
That
you
was
are-
afterwards.
you're
It
100%
was
right,
completely
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
But
So-
him not talking about that's interesting because that's just how that's how he makes a movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just par for the course, right? But
Yeah.
that's not how you make a movie.
No.
Like that's because I would just imagine
Mm-hmm.
that's expensive if you're not getting it and you don't have anything to kind of fall back on. Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure to do improv on.
On film.
On
'cause
film.
It's expensive to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's pros and cons, I think, to it.
Yeah.
You know, you get a certain kind of energy.
Energy.
Yeah, exactly. And a feel, for the a bantery quality in the dialogue. But at the same time, you don't necessarily hit exactly what, the
Sure. Yeah.
the beats exactly, right? So there's also Murderville.
Oh my
Have you
god,
guys-
that's a
Murderville.
great
Murderville
fucking
is
call.
amazing.
I love Murderville. I've heard other people not like it, and I love it. I fucking love it.
haven't seen it.
I watched the Conan episode. I
So
watched
funny.
the Ken Jeong episode.
right.
And
Kristen Swatsky was watching this when I was at her house.
Will Arnett, yeah.
it's everybody's in on it. It's all improv.
It's a game
but it's
show.
not improv. It's yeah.
It's
Oh,
like it's like different things.
Right.
Like
Everybody like Conan O'Brien shows up to set and doesn't know what the story is. Finds out that he's going to be a partner to Will Arnett's cop character, and they have to solve a crime. And it changes every time someone comes on. And Will Arnett's like the idiot cop. And
Sweet.
whatever
That sounds
whatever Arnett does, you just play off of. And the Ken Jeong's is just trying not to break. Like that's what's so
Yeah.
great about. Like
Oh.
he's really trying hard.
Yeah.
And Conan is just like looking off at the camera and smirking, and then like, coming back, he's like, "All right, fine, like whatever,
Yeah.
right?" Like, and it's just fun to watch because
Yeah.
it's magic. It's lightning in a bottle. You don't know what you can get.
That just
Good
reminded me
take.
also another good show, Only Murders in the Building.
Oh,
God.
oh,
I haven't actually watched it yet. It's on my list.
dude.
Watch it.
I will
Watch it,
watch
watch
it.
it,
No,
watch
I
it.
will watch it. It's
It reminded
definitely
me
worth
of
to
like what a
watch.
national treasure Martin Short is.
The banter.
amazing.
I thought you were gonna say the movie National Treasure because I love National Treasure much better than Uncharted. I'm not even kidding. You guys think I'm doing a bit right now? I'm being like, I rewatched it after Uncharted, and I'm like, why isn't everyone talking about how good National Treasure is?
Okay. All right.
Book of Secrets not so good. National Treasure 1, Nick Cage is a leading actor.
National Treasure was really fun.
Yeah,
It was
it's
really
so
God, I can't
good.
remember.
Better than Da Vinci Code.
Well, but yeah, that's not her. I don't think.
A treasure map on the back of the Declaration of Independence.
We're gonna steal his
Right,
his
right,
motivation is to steal the Declaration of Independence so the other guy can't get it.
Yeah.
And he's right to do it. It's the smartest thing because no one believes him, and he was right. It's so good.
The best part is he
I love that
uses
movie.
a gift shop copy of the Declaration of Independence and switches it out with
Oh,
the
it's
real
so
Declaration of Independence.
I just
like
Nick
shit
Cage,
that you
So
like people would be
easy.
like, this is a reprint. Like what the fuck are you giving
Nick
me?
Cage is a leading man in that. Like he is playing like
really
a
is.
good-looking man that this like the love interest is interested in. Like what?
It's not unironically.
Like not ironic. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm like, this is a real movie. It's so good though.
All right. Give us your
I kind of
give me your
I
improv.
clued it up because I thought you were gonna.
You
say
thought
it.
I was going to go Indiana Jones.
I thought you were gonna Indiana
Raiders of the
Jones.
Lost Ark?
It is Raiders with the shot, right?
It is Raiders
Okay.
with the show.
I was for half a second I doubted myself. I'm like,
I almost went with
is it
that one
Temple?
too.
Because it shows, I think, so the scene is essentially in Raiders. Indy's like running away from everyone. Guy comes out with a bunch of swords, starts swinging it. Harrison Ford pulls out his gun and shoots the guy, and just like puts his gun back and walks away. And I think it shows the exhaustion of what it's like to work in film, and sometimes what you truly want to do. And from the understanding, that was pretty much like that's essentially what happened. And he was just like, bang.
Well, and he had super bad diarrhea because they all got sick. filming
Something
in
like that too.
Tunisia.
Yeah, there was like a whole
in Tunisia. They were all super
Yeah.
sick.
That's a
and
backstory.
and yeah, he was apparently like just completely exhausted. He
I'm
had
done.
no fluids in him anymore, and he just went to Steven. He was like, "Hey, what if the guy comes out, swings his sword, and does his thing, and I just sort of pull my gun out and shoot him?" And Steven was like, "That's great."
Yeah, and
Love
it's a good bit. It's a bit that like works for that tone of movie
For sure.
Like I feel like you can't get away with like look, okay, hey, National Treasure, Indiana
no, here we
Jones,
go again.
great movie. Like no, so after I saw Uncharted, my friend and I, who I went with, shout out to Ryan Hansen, what up? We were talking about, because we were both saying like I love like treasure movies, like movies where they have to find the treasure. And we were listing them out like Da Vinci Code, Uncharted, National Treasure, Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones
Lara
being the
Croft.
original. Laura Croft, we were talking about too. Yeah, we were naming them. We were going through it all.
Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Well, because so he went on a
Thank you,
binge.
Kathleen Turner.
He went on a binge where he was watching all of these. He realized that was his favorite genre. So he was like naming them. He was like National Treasure, Treasure Planet, Atlantis. Like he was going even off book to animation. So that being said, like it's just Indiana Jones and these types of tone where like are these types of treasure hunting movies that are both like fun adventure and also slight comedy at times, like National Treasure. Like Indiana Jones,
The Jungle Cruise.
Oh fuck that movie. But yes, that has that tone. but the idea that like you just the comic comes out of just shooting a guy and they get away with it, and it is funny and it totally works and it's totally in character to what that fucking character will do is really good, and that's why Indiana Jones is great.
I agree.
Yeah, we all love finding treasure, right? Like it's the one thing that you see on screen where you're like, I could go do that weird thing they do out in Nova Scotia. What's that show? The reality show they called Skull Island or that's
I have no
Oak
idea what you're
Island.
talking about.
Oak Islands. Thank you.
My dad watches it, and I'm like,
Everybody's
"Hey,
dad watches
how's-
that show."
Yeah, how's it
It's a
going,
dad
Dad?
show.
Did they find anything yet? He's like, not yet. I'm like, Dad, they're never gonna find anything.
That's the-
and if they do, we're gonna hear about it on the news before the show ever tells you.
You get so gaslit on that show because they're like, we found treasure this
Yeah.
week in the preview, and then you tune into the episode and they're like, yeah, we've got an arrowhead, and I'm like, not the treasure we're all waiting for.
Well, and now there's Beyond Oak Island,
Yeah.
and there's
Under
two
Oak
spin-offs.
Island.
Yeah.
Over Oak Island, Oak Island Junior,
The Fifth Dimension.
Stargate Oak Island.
The oaks are on fire.
Too hot to handle. Oak Island.
Yeah.
No,
They stole our
The
treasure.
Bachelorette Oak Island.
But, yeah.
I really do like when
pirates.
when you find out about because improvisation is the magic moment that I think all you guys are trying to capture, right? Like you can set it up, you can block it, you can write it, you can frame it, you can do all these things, but then when it goes live and improvisation happens by accident or is they just keep going because they're locked in a moment. That's the movie magic, right? Like watch. And I don't mean to discount like working your lines and rehearsing and getting in the character, but when the character takes you over
For sure.
and you're lost in the character, I can only imagine how much. And like watching that, like you guys get to watch that. I'm jealous. Like I would love to just watch some distinguished actor do their thing and then just come out of it. And then you're like, where the fuck did you
it's
go?
funny. That happened to me on a film. I guess it was probably 6 years ago now. I was working on a movie called Incident in a Ghostland, and there was this young
I remember
actress
that
on
movie.
it, and I would go to set every day, and not only that, her and her mom were amazing. They'd hug me every day, and they were like, oh my God, this weekend we went and saw an ice hockey game. Have you seen one? And I'd be like, yes, I have. They're like, it's like the most fun. These guys are going on ice skates, and I'm like, they're like, well, we can see when we get home. And I'm like, yes. They're just the sweetest, nicest people, and I would watch her every day, and she would be talking to me, and then they'd be like, okay, we need you, and she would just start crying, and she'd be on the ground, and she'd get thrown against a wall or something, and she was amazing, and I thought, this girl's going somewhere. Then she was nominated for Best Actress for Coda for a BAFTA this year.
That's
Amelia
awesome.
Jones. She's
that's her?
amazing.
That's the same girl.
Yes.
I'll be
She's-
honest.
Yeah.
I hate Coda.
I didn't see it. I
Okay.
haven't seen it yet. But she's also in Lock and Key.
Yes.
Oh,
I did watch
Shauna's
Lock and
watched
Key.
that.
Yeah.
She said
I
it's
also
really
watched
good.
Lock and
Yeah.
Key. I forgot she was in that, to
And
be honest.
Michael
I forgot I
Marshall,
watched
my
it.
friend Michael Marshall, who's a DP'd, and then I think directed a couple episodes of that. But she's so good. That was one of those moments where I was like, I'm watching
Yeah, stars
this
for him.
little, 100%.
You're
She
watching
was
magic
amazing.
happen.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, that's-
she is very good in Coda. I do not like Coda as a movie itself, and I don't feel like actually when we were talking about the Oscar thing, that's like near bottom of my list. It's King Richard's above it, but like but she's very good in that and is pulling a lot. Of
I just imagine she is because
she's doing a
so
lot
sweet.
in that movie and she's in every scene. And so yeah, it's very good.
Do you remember her name?
Amelia Jones.
How dare you? Of course she does. No,
I'll
I
watch
just wanted to know.
and I'll watch Gilded Age.
There you go. There you go.
So, next item on the docket here is this one's fun because this goes into your personal taste. So I phrased it as you meet an Amazonian tribesperson, loincloth spear, and the whole stereotype.
I gotta find my list.
They've never seen a lighter, never mind a television show or movie, whatever. What's the one movie or show that you would show them to open up their lives to the cinematic adventures on screen for the first time? Krystle.
Me, my first.
Yeah, you're first.
So I picked, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I also, when I got married, walked down the aisle to the theme music, Jurassic Park.
you're gonna scare the fuck out of them.
Because first of all, I just remember what it was like the first time that I saw a real dinosaur.
Yeah.
It wasn't a claymation thing. I remember the music, everything about that movie.
Dino
when I saw that
DNA.
movie, there are going to be some dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour. I feel like that everything about that movie. That was my 1995 thing. Dinosaurs. Hey, you want to see something? How about some real dinosaurs? And some beautiful John Williams score. And some Spielberg.
It's terrifying. I was like,
Well, I imagine like everything that you see about when civilized humanity meets a long lost tribe, right? Like King Kong, I was watching the other day, and Jack Black's like ignorantly trying to use chocolate to entice a girl on Skull Island who's never heard of chocolate or seen chocolate, and it's supposed to work, right? So like these things that are so normal to us that then you would show them for the first time. Yeah, I have to.
I think I would just put my Oculus on them. I'd be like, "Here,
Sure,
you
yeah.
guys really want?
Now you're
Let's
cheating.
just go in."
Now you're cheating. That's not how you do the homework.
watch the
assignment.
classic movie channel.
Watch Citizen Kane in an Oculus.
Wow.
But yeah,
You can
no,
almost feel them.
do you know the story behind? Like, did you watch how the movies that made us?
Oh,
did
of
you see that
course.
clip of
Yeah.
You guys all seen
Yeah,
this
yeah.
episode?
That guy who's like a dick,
So-
but
The guy who's like, he's like, I can
he's
make
like,
the
"I can
dinosaur
do this
run.
better," and like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna, yeah.
He's this like militant asshole
Yeah.
who was really good with computers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they
He got them running.
They were going to use Phil Tippett, the famous animator, to do all of the work for the dinosaurs. And unfortunately, this guy was like, well, I could do it better. And he did do it better. And he ran a mock program and he put it all in the system. And the day that Spielberg and Kennedy and everybody were showing up to see the test that Phil Tippett had set up, he maneuvered them into a different room and then just pressed play. And they saw the T-Rex run shot for the first time. And everybody just stopped. And that's what they say the day animation, like stop animation died, was when they realized they could do it in the computer. And it's mind-blowing, but like just if I can't imagine seeing, never mind a TV for the first time, but seeing a T-Rex coming at me and Ian Malcolm going, must go faster. Like that would be
Let's go faster.
must go faster. He's in the Jeep commercial
Yeah.
using
well,
using the whole joke now.
He's also
He
in
is?
the
Yeah,
he's
he's in
also
it.
in the
Was
new
it a Super
Jurassic
Bowl
World
thing?
trailer.
It was a Super Bowl thing, and it's
didn't
part of
see
the
that
trailer
one.
where he's driving away. And he's
Oh,
like,
I
"How do you
saw
like me
that,
now?"
yes.
And the Tyrannosaurus Rex is in the rearview
Yeah.
mirror.
I can't believe I didn't see it.
That's a perfect movie to be like, welcome to the world of cinema.
Yeah, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Because at that point, all they would know is like artifacts and dinosaur bones. They would still
Right.
think that that's the only thing that.
Plus, I'm just selfishly like, this is my favorite movie, and I want you all to watch it, so I can watch you watch it.
Alan, what about you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, like to take the person into consideration who might not understand the
Oh, we were supposed to do
nuances
that?
of, you know,
Well, I get what he's doing.
the nuances of culture and language. I'm going to. Anyways, I'm going to suggest Mel Gibson's Apocalypto.
Oh, Are you doing what I think you're doing, where you're making the transition nice and easy?
Exactly.
They're like, this is you on screen.
Exactly. This is something where like you don't really need to understand what they're talking about.
No.
To get them to enjoy the movie, right?
It's a really good movie.
It is really good. I watched it again actually like not too long ago, and I was like, yeah, classic like stuff. And you learn a little bit of history, you know, like what happened to the Mayans, even though it's not super accurate, but it is, you know,
Good movie. Mel Gibson questionable.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Art before human. Sure.
Yeah, you can. I heard a good argument about that. You know how like separating the artist from the human, because you know, regardless of what the human does, you know, how that piece of art or how that movie, whatever, affected you at that time,
Right.
what you got from it is, and what other people have gotten, for like hundreds of, you know, thousands of people have gotten from it, is more powerful than the, you know, the bad taste in your mouth when you think about the actual person, because nobody's perfect, right?
I just recently, actually another thing I've been watching, but I finished We Need to Talk About Bill Cosby. The
that just came out on Crave.
It's a 4-part HBO doc. And,
Is it on Crave?
It's on Crave, yeah. It just finished, and it's very good. And Cosby is not my guy. But it was very interesting. And they talk about that, like, you know, because some people are like, I can't watch his stuff. Some people are like, I can separate it.
Well, he did so much for black people on television,
honestly,
but without knowing. That's the heartbreaking thing.
It's so fucked to watch, and like, see, they do a really good job building a timeline, and you're like, good Lord. And when you like realize how much
that would just
crazy he's done, and you're like, oh my God.
On top of like while doing this, he was also doing this kind of thing,
but also leaving breadcrumbs throughout. It's very interesting. Anyways,
whoa, crazy!
Yeah.
I gotta watch it now because
you definitely everyone should.
Yeah,
it's very.
I have really great memories of grew up with Bill
yeah,
Cosby
especially
show,
if you guys
know?
You guys I think are a little bit older than me, but like
that's our generation.
Yeah,
right?
like I didn't have Cosby as my guy.
Well,
so.
I felt that way after the documentary about Michael Jackson, and I'm like
Yeah.
a huge
That was
Michael
a
Jackson
heavy
fan, and I'm
one.
like I
had
a very
that one I watched too. Sorry, what was it?
Neverland.
Finding Neverland,
Finding
or Leaving
Neverland?
Neverland, or,
Yeah, something like that.
Leaving Neverland.
yeah,
Right. Finding
that was very hard to watch.
Finding Neverland, Johnny Depp.
Johnny
Leaving
Depp.
Neverland,
Kate Winslet, yeah.
Child Family Services.
Yeah.
They're totally
Yeah,
different outcomes.
Yes.
But I remember
that was
watching
also a
that,
hard
and I
watch.
struggle.
Yeah, I struggled.
now.
I actually
to listen
felt
to
kind of
Michael
sick
Jackson.
while watching that.
Oh,
which
me
is
too.
like,
I
which
was
is weird.
very
Yeah.
disturbed.
That guy, not there was the choreographer who I knew a lot about because I danced when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy, the
It was In Sync and
Yeah,
Britney Spears
him,
choreographers.
I followed him for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Rob?
no, what the hell's his name? But the other guy, the guy who had his wedding ring in
Right.
the in the
Mickey
box,
Mouse.
yeah, he was still broken.
Yeah.
and it was very hard. Like Wade
Wade
something.
No, that's the guy from Ready Player
Not
One. I'm
Wade,
like, Wade,
yeah.
what?
Wade was angry, but this other gentleman whose name eludes me was just broken,
Yeah.
and I felt
Yeah.
that it was he wasn't ready to do
That
the
one felt
documentary.
very raw. It was
like
hard
they
to
might have
watch.
pushed it.
Yeah.
and,
And especially it was 2 parts, and it was just like
Right?
It was really hard. Like I had a hard time like finishing it, but I really wanted to. But yeah, it was hard to hear a lot of stuff.
So besides the Cosby doc and the Michael Jackson doc, what would you show an Amazonian tribesman?
Yeah.
Definitely an episode of Bill Cosby. No, okay. So it's funny. Initially, I had my joke answer, which was like fireplace for your home. Just show them like fire.
A moving fishing, like a moving
Yeah,
fish tank on the screen.
Just like that 1995 screensaver of like the stars coming at you and constantly
It's just
going,
bouncing like this.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah.
Microsoft
Hilarious.
95.
But my true answer, I was thinking similar to Allan, where I'm like, you gotta simplify this shit, and like don't give them language.
Pam and Tommy's sex tape.
Yeah.
Variations of a Cellophane.
Oh my God! Could
You guys have to watch that film school?
From
No.
American Beauty.
No, it's literally just it's like we had to watch it in film school, like year 1, where it's just like a camera, and then they're like this woman's like pulling
No.
a cellophane.
I
no,
didn't go to a
it's
real school.
Variations of a cellophane, you guys.
I said Fantasia.
Mm.
It's bright.
Mhm.
It's colorful, big eyes, means hopefulness, and they'll probably be more like less
Cutesy
fearful.
stuff. Yeah, I get
Cutesy
what-
things,
yeah.
musically.
Animation's
animated,
less
animation,
shocking.
less shocking. You know, you got to treat them like babies. Like give them an episode of Baby Einstein or something. So this is like the
Right.
closest thing that is a film, in my opinion. That could be that. So.
Ooh,
Sweet.
Charlie
Very sweet.
Chaplin stuff.
Ooh,
Or
you're
like-
right.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Like
bicycle
physical comedy.
bicycle thief,
Oh.
bicycle thief. You don't need fucking.
That's a really good idea because you're showing the moving pictures without, a velociraptor.
Yeah.
What?
Battleship
Guys.
Potemkin.
I'm gonna be when
Battleship
I answer.
Potemkin.
I'm gonna be in
Come
your
on.
boat, so don't worry. Like
Okay,
I
cool.
did the.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Oh, Waking Life. Come on.
Oh, wait, yeah. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
Requiem for a
Well,
Dream.
the first
Anybody?
The first thing I thought of too was like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I don't know why, because I thought of like
Well, the evolution of man.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
I
right.
think
yeah.
I think you keep going there like, I would like to watch this with these people.
Yeah, that's what I went in
Yeah.
there with. I was like, what do I want
Yeah.
to?
Do I have to be here for
yeah,
this
yeah.
viewing, or
I'm
do I
gonna
just
watch
drop
Happy
it
Gilmore
and
with
go?
these guys, and I'm gonna laugh, and they're gonna think I'm funny because I'm laughing.
Go to your home. Look, it's funny.
Oh boy.
All right, so Fantasia, Apocalypto, and Jurassic Park. I will end this because I'm in the same big blockbuster category as you. I'm going to Peter Jackson these fuckers, and I'm going to Lord of the Rings them.
Oh, thank
What?
God. They're gonna say the
I'm going to
Hobbit.
orc the shit out of them.
Lovely.
I'm gonna give them little creatures with furry feet because they
Fellow-
probably sympathize
fellowship?
with
I
it.
approve.
Which one?
Fellowship.
We start them off at the beginning. We don't not the two.
You're gonna leave them on a cliffhanger?
Well, no, we'll do a 9-hour sitting. I didn't say we were gonna.
No, you said you gotta pick one.
They've
movie.
got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Now he's
All
brought
they have-
food and like.
Yeah, all they got to do
They
is
don't
go
have to
back and
worry
make
about
another
anything
hut. Like they don't have a
Where's
problem.
the electricity coming from this TV?
Starlink. It's all just casting.
Just
He's got a
casting
yacht.
electricity.
Yeah.
Didn't you know he's got a yacht?
Yeah.
He's got a big screen on
Right.
it.
Yeah, I took out a giant loan to go across the world and expose film to Amazonian tribes that have still.
You're a missionary.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to run the risk of being headhunted or showing them some classic cinema. One of the two is going to go down.
Yeah.
But no, I thought like this is what this thing does. Like give them the 10th degree instead of warming them up to it, which makes way more fucking sense.
Now that I realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like dinosaurs and orcs. Like these people are gonna run for they're gonna stab us. This is what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Why
Or
are
they're
you-
gonna think we're like Captain Cook and we're gods, and they're gonna
Yeah.
be like.
And they cook them. They cook Captain Cook.
Eventually, when he
Eventually,
got sick, and they were
yeah.
like, "Shit, you're not a god,"
Yeah.
but we have some time.
That was
You'd be
my
very
favorite
like
story.
Endor, like Ewok, Luke Skywalker, where like he, makes C-3PO rise. We can do some weird
Yeah.
shit.
I can't
like
believe
that.
neither of us said Star Wars.
Yeah, I
now
was
that think about
surprised.
it.
Doing this
But that's a little.
Star,
Off-Earth.
yeah, like well, not even that. Like Star Wars would be great because it's like watching the scene where C-3PO retells the story of everything, doing the sound effects to the Ewoks as he's telling it to them in their language. That's kind of what would be fun to show. Like that'd be meta. Like you're showing a movie to show somebody that this is happening in the movie, and then like whatever. I'm going off the weeds here, but the point is that Star Wars is so on the nose in this room
I know.
that like I'm just like everybody
And
would
on the shelves
yeah.
and on the pillows.
I'm expected to bring Star Wars, right? Where I'm like, no, there is a catalog of film out there that I would much rather show you, and it starts
True.
with a long walk to a volcano and a ring. Let's just
You picked
and you
the
guys have all
fourth
seen the
biggest-
you guys all saw the trailer for the new.
Power of Rings,
Yeah.
Rings of
that
Power.
30-second thing that's like barely a trailer.
I know, but I didn't care. I was in.
I'm so over Lord of the Rings.
I have a problem.
We've had this talk. Me and him have had this talk.
Yeah, I have a problem with. I've watched Wheel of Time, and Wheel of Time is
I know.
really good
Yeah.
and was done really well. And what I've seen of Lord of the Rings, I think the budget should have been reversed. And we all know that Lord of the Rings has cost $500 million to make. Which, okay, for
The
three
TV
people,
show?
the
You
TV
remember
show,
The new one. that's
TV
coming out.
show capped at $436 million for a season. So just a question in the room:
Pennies.
you guys have all done set work. You've all seen big productions, little productions, productions of all sizes. What does a $436 million budget say?
I haven't. It's
Huh? It's
Like-
That
pretty-
says you fucked up.
it's the smallest budget.
For a
250
TV
mi-
series.
for one series of streaming television, 436
season.
million production.
How many episodes?
One.
Haha, it's a
10?
movie.
I'm assuming
One
it's
8 hour
Eight or
episode.
10. 8 or 10.
8 or 10.
But broken
probably.
up, like the episode.
Like even Game of Thrones at their
Yeah,
height
that
when they were
is-
like
that's
10 to
pretty
12
crazy.
million an episode,
Yeah.
80
Yeah.
million a season.
Yeah.
$436 million for one.
And they're not shooting in
season.
New Zealand, which is like super.
Yeah, they went back to a
heartbreaking.
soundstage.
Well, they
in
usually
London.
like an episode of like Westworld was about 20 to 30. Like
Was it?
Like they had some crazy budgets, but near the end, like Game of Thrones and things. Like they were going like 10 to 20. I could be wrong about maybe 30, but 10 to 20 was like they're high.
I thought they weren't getting out of the tens. They were still in. They weren't in the 20s.
No. Yeah, they're hitting.
That's
that now.
crazy.
Yeah, it's and the only
What's
reason
it-
I know that now is because like I've had to. I've been in like programs with producers from them, and I was surprised by that number because I was like, really? That's what like a show, like an HBO show, goes for per episode. So it makes sense. Like they're hitting like that because like they're making 10 hours of movies. Like they're making a movie an episode, and that's what everyone's trying to do right now. They're not trying to make a fucking show. You're trying to make a fucking movie every.
I have a
episode.
question about the Wheel of Time, though.
Sure.
I read the first book. I watched the first episode, and I thought it looked cheap.
It looks.
The
Really
trailer
good.
looks cheap. Yeah.
The trailer looks cheap. The show's really good.
But the show,
I've heard
I watched
I've
the
heard
first
good things,
episode, and
yeah.
I thought that like the scene where she's in the, I was like, oh, this doesn't look very good, and then I stopped watching after one episode. So maybe I gave up too soon.
Trollocs show up and start to kick ass. Did you see that stuff?
Yeah, that looked good.
Okay,
it was the like magic, and maybe it was her.
The magic is a little
know.
cheesy. I'll give you that.
Right?
When the ribbons come out.
Yeah.
I
don't know why it didn't look. It looked cheap, and then I just sort of was like, I put it on the shelf because I think a new season of something I already was watching just came out. Whatever. So maybe I need to give it another go.
Give it. It's set.
It gets better. Is what you're saying?
It's not medieval. It's what the hell? Somebody explain this to me perfectly. I got a buddy who Rob on the show loves Wheel of Time. Victorian? Is it? It's not Victorian. It's like it's like a fancy Hobbit time with humans, right? And I don't know what that era is, but that's what I'm going to call it for now. Give it another shot. Honestly.
Okay,
Give
I
it
will.
another
No,
shot.
I had a question because I wanted to ask you about that to make sure that
I liked it, but I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I've read like most of the books.
God, there's just
like
so
I got
many.
up to like book 9, and then I gave up. I was like, okay,
I know.
What is there? 14?
there's so
so
many
many.
books.
Like,
Anyways, but it felt a little bit YA to me.
Okay, you know what? I do get that.
It felt a little bit YA.
Maybe
and-
that was also the issue I had. I
and
kinda felt
not
that way.
like, and I think that so there's another show that is YA, and I think that it was done better. I think what was it? That one on Netflix where it's like Shadow and Bone.
Oh yeah, Shadow and Bone.
Yeah.
Shadow and
I
Bone.
like
I
that.
actually quite like that.
So
and,
did I.
And it is that is like totally YA, right? So
Well, and young adult, as long as it's like
Done
well and the story's good, like I can watch young people acting.
Of
and
course.
Like I can put up with Cobra Kai. I can put up with anything. But like if the story is immature, that's where you lose me. But if the story is enough that adult can
Or if the
sympathize,
acting is bad.
Yeah, if the acting
Then
is bad,
it's-
but
yeah.
like and if it's that Dawson's Creek shit where it's like
Ugh.
they're
Right.
too developed as characters, you're like you're still 16. Like you're not this deep. Stop
Absolutely.
going inward. Like be a fucking kid, right? Get a boner or something. I don't know.
I think that's too. I don't really like love stories in general. Like I don't find them that they have to be. I remember I had a bad breakup one time, and I decided to have an anti-Valentine's Day party, and I tried to find a movie without a love story in it. And I was like, this is hard. And then I was like, why do they have to be in every goddamn movie? Why? But Lord of the Rings really, besides Samwell and Frodo and Arwen and there isn't, but they're already in
Striker.
love. They're already in love, so it doesn't feel like it's like some sort of.
It's long lost love. It's
Yeah.
not current love to the story, right?
I
Their
kind of love when there isn't love. You know what I mean?
I do too, because it's the easiest. It's the
you
it's
love
the,
the absence of love.
I love the absence of love.
It's just the default storyline, right? Like if you
Right.
put a love story in, then low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I think it's just. I agree.
Did we get everybody?
We're still talking about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Listen, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we did.
talk
Yeah, we
whatever.
got
I'm gonna
everybody.
talk
Yeah,
about
we got it.
forever.
All right.
Whenever I don't know what I want to watch, I'll just be like, well, I guess I'm gonna start Fellowship again.
Really?
Oh, I love
That's
it.
like me for Back to the Future.
We'll talk later. But
Yeah.
I'm also obsessed with Back to the Future. I have
We got 3 more topics here,
Okay,
so
let's go.
let's kill this.
we
here.
can
And this is,
we can do it.
we can do it. I think we can do it.
One,
We've done. I
two,
think we've done
three.
this twice.
Don't we have 4?
No, we're in montage. Diamond. Oh, you've been getting spoiled
There's a
upstairs.
doggy in
I
here
bet.
now.
We have. What do we have left? We have best montage.
Yep.
we have best cameo, and we have if your life was a movie, what would the title
You don't
be?
have what do you consider to be the best action sequence?
Yes, I have. I did. Yeah. Okay. I did. Do you want it?
No, I don't fucking care. I told you I was ill prepared today. I'm top of the head game.
All right. Well, let's get
You and me both.
Let's do montage because that's really fun filmmaking. Because
Montage.
so, like, it is the point in any movie that uses one where it obviously speeds up the plot, right? Like you're running for time, so you want to convey maybe 4 or 5 things in one quick little edited segment. And my question was that is it lazy filmmaking by doing it because it's kind of like making that chorus repeat itself in a song where you were like instead of writing new lyrics, you just use this really good hook and you closed out the track on it, or is it good filmmaking if it's done properly? And I think every montage is just designed to do one thing, which for the listener, I did actually write down a definition of this. Montage is one of the main, if not the most, used traits of film form. It's a tool that has puzzled filmmakers from Edwin S. Porter to Joshua Oppenheimer, and it is because montages enable them to structure time and space in forms that, while different from reality, express a deeper version of it.
Why go to film school when you have definitions like that?
Absolutely.
You can just Google them. That's what I did, kids.
I just felt like I was back there. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I know. I just had a little.
That was out of a
flashback
textbook
going,
for sure.
I can't believe I overpaid for this.
And I have a deep voice, so it's worth listening.
Yeah.
It is. It absolutely is.
So I'll start this one off. Where the hell's my?
I got a good one.
You got a good one?
I got a
Okay,
good
you go first.
Okay.
Ian first. Ian first.
I'm the best. I'm the best. I had my backup one I was debating, which was like a slightly intro scene. I'd say like it's like the first 20 minutes of Fight Club, where he's just like where he's just basically describing what his life is and how his job works, and he's like and he's going through that. As well as my other backup one was Train Spotting. It's kind of like his intro and he's talking. But then I was like, no, there's like better ones. Like these are like very classic montage where you're incorporating like elements of the character with B-roll, with like shots of whatever, and like especially like with Fight Club, like Fincher just plays with like hyper zooms and quick, and it's very stylized and cool. It's like a music video. I think Fincher comes from a music video.
He does come from. I was just
yeah.
going to say that. Like he's got a couple good ones.
But I was like, I like the most fun and funniest and classic montage is from Rocky 3. And it's the training montage of Apollo.
Oh, you picked it!
I was going to say the same thing.
Really?
Keep going. Keep going.
But it's like, but Rocky 3, Sylvester Stallone and Apollo Creed have I can't remember the actor's name, Carl Weathers.
Yes, Carl Weathers.
Have a montage because in Rocky 3, basically, Carl Weather or Apollo Creed decides to train Rocky in order to beat Mr. T. And there's a whole montage to which
Diamond, come here.
the dog's everywhere. There's a whole montage to which they basically are running on the beach together, working out together, and it's just it's the most bro of any ever like two guys working out or doing. I don't know. There's something magical and amazing about it. I just really love it. It's very heartfelt and like.
That's what everyone on set said yesterday too.
Oh really?
When I asked them this
question.
It's
so
They're
funny.
Like, oh, Rocky 3.
Oh, it's funny because I just like that was one of those things I
Yeah.
just like naturally knew.
I think that's
that's good. Hey, that's great. I'm glad that's. I thought I was pulling that out of my ass.
So there's
that's really
something
good.
about that era of filmmaking that they really take the montage because the storytelling was a little bit more simple, and they really use the montage to a really great effect. And they milk it, right?
They milk it.
they
It's like
don't
3
have-
minutes. It's 3 minutes
it's
long.
It's not the same anymore with montages because we
No.
know it. We know like the whatever.
It's
we're
not
too
stylized.
Smart.
It's very like they take their time. Yeah, you say they milk it. Yeah,
I would even say that that one's great.
Yeah.
But I would even say that I like the one with the Rocky with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, I
more.
thought. See, it's funny.
Where
I thought
he's
that one too.
Where he's in the gym training with technology,
and he's in
up
the winter.
in
I
the
thought
mountains.
that too.
He's like,
yes,
he's like
yes.
lifting.
That's where he's fighting the meat in the cold. And
Exactly.
like, yeah. It's so good.
That
and like,
was so good.
He-Man
And it cut
himself.
back and forth.
oh,
man.
that's so. That was my second one where I was like, maybe I should say that one instead because it is funny where he's like using the robot thing and they're punching all the Russian scientists. They're like taking notes.
yeah.
You know what? To that, both of those sequences show Rocky at his worst, right?
Yeah.
And it's this duality of like training to be better
Right.
while you're at your lowest point. And I think that's the cool because those they do the same thing when he's in Chicago and he's just lost the title.
Right.
So it's this training sequence to get you pumped up, and they make you so I want to go to the gym. I want to go to the gym
Right.
when I'm watching Rocky run through snow and a giant log is over his head. Like it just excites you, and it's got the Rocky track in the background.
So
Fuck.
good.
Those are good. Those are deep fucking good takes.
Yeah.
Well, it's because that's like, and that was the point of the montage, right? To show the journey, the challenge of the journey without actually like having to spend all the like the tediousness of actually what the journey is, right? And so in that sense, it's very pure. It's a very pure way of accelerating the story for the hero.
Oh, I think you may have won this round.
Anyways, I could
Agree.
say that was a tie because we.
I was
both
going to say, I think it's
obviously
pretty
said
tie.
No,
I thought you
I'm
had the
giving
exact
it to
same
you,
one. I'm
Allan.
glad you actually said 4 because I'm like, that's a good one. Like, I'd say like that'd be second to in the
Don't
Rocky.
like they use them in every one. Like
They
when
do,
he goes
but, like-
running in one, and
but
you
those
see
are,
him,
like,
you
the
see him
most
as
mem-
a community member.
The reason why like I also would say 3 and 4 are the best is because like Apollo was the antagonist essentially in 1 and 2. And then, like, they have to become friends, and it's this very, like, Apollo's the only person that understands what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Clearly, I love Rocky. But, and 4, fucking, like, Dolph Lundgren kills Apollo after 3. So,
Yeah.
like, it means even more that Rocky needs to take
Yeah,
him
there's
down
more on the
to
line.
show... Oh, I can't get into Russia.
Well, Russia's invading this fucking podcast
Yeah.
today. It's like,
You can't use that word. Careful.
there we go. Anyways,
Did you mark it to take it
yes,
out?
I did.
Just because you said the word invading? I was doing
It doesn't have to come
I-
out.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, so Rocky 3, Rocky 4, easily
Yeah.
2 of the
And
best.
Krystle clearly picked Rocky 2.
Yeah. Did I pick
No,
5?
I
did
I pick
not.
5?
Well, you picked Creed.
I,
That's a great montage too.
Which is also a great Oculus game.
what's your montage, Krystle?
Okay, well, I'm going to do something a little different here because I have a list of them.
I think
so
I sing
what
it.
I'm going to do is make you
A montage.
see if you could sing the song from my pick.
Oh, I love it. This is a fun
So,
game.
Scarface.
This is a tale for all the fellas
Tried to do what those ladies tell us.
You are wrong.
Okay.
No,
You
that's
have fun.
okay.
Come on.
Scarface. Is it? Is it in the club scene?
It's when oh, come on. It's
What scene? There's so many. There's so
I
many
don't
in
know.
that.
Scarface, nothing but
Scarface.
Scarface. My
You guys
name
are
is
the worst.
Scarface.
That's some
Okay.
Bill Murray shit right there.
Scarface.
it's Push It to the Limit.
That
Oh.
when everything comes to a halt.
Push it to the limit.
Yes. And like he's getting. He's marrying
good.
Michelle
Yeah,
Pfeiffer.
it's
He
the
gets
whole
the
thing.
tiger. Yes. Oh,
Push It to the
that's
Limit. So that's a good one. Karate Kid.
You're the best
There we go.
The best.
Yeah.
around.
Amazing montage.
Yeah.
Again, it's really easy to find sports montages.
Yeah,
I've
exactly,
realized,
right?
when
Like
you're
it's the
thinking about
hero's
them, 'cause
journey.
It is the hero's journey.
Nobody
It's
wants
like,
to watch people practice,
Maybe I
but
should
they
have
gotta
picked Fight
practice
Club.
in order to get good.
from 0 to hero. That's like what you see in a
Yeah.
montage.
Sure.
a lot of
Yeah.
times, right?
Also,
Hercules.
also
Or the other way
Hercules.
around.
I was about to say. I was about to say that too. Also, great song from
It
Hercules.
is a great song.
Zero to hero,
And
just
now
like that.
Yeah. Okay, Dirty Dancing. Anyone know the song from that one? It's great too when they're training.
Well, there's so many good songs.
the montage scene is
Time of my
No,
life.
no,
No.
yeah. Babe. No, that's
no,
not it.
it's Hungry Eyes.
Oh, when they're practicing. when they're practicing.
Yes,
Yeah.
when they're practicing their dance.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I also have the best. See, I knew this was going to be a good
This is a
section.
good one.
Man.
Pretty Woman, which is a pretty,
Pretty
obvious.
woman.
She's shopping. She's finally getting to shop after those bitches wouldn't let her in the
Big
store.
mistake.
Big mistake.
Huge.
It's a great scene. And then in my last one, I don't actually remember the song. I do, but I don't know what it is. The Devil Wears Prada is a great scene of her changing all her outfits. You know, she's finally like made her way up to Miranda Priestley.
All that she wants is another
Sure,
baby.
sure. It's definitely not that song, but I like that song. So those are my montages because I do not think montages are lazy. I love montages.
They're the fun part of the film because
I think so.
It speeds up the pacing, right? It's probably a
Yeah.
great point. Like if you don't have an action beat, right? A montage creates a sense of like you're going through the paces with whatever's happening, right?
Exactly.
It can be bad, it can be good, it can be sports, it can be action, it can be mine, where it's the Godfather and it's Michael becoming the Godfather, and it's the baptism scene.
Yeah.
Where at the same time you see Michael say like, "Do you reject sin? I reject sin," and then three guys in Vegas eat bullets, right? Because it's at his word, and it's this violent adventure into the mind of where Michael Corleone is now going because he's made the decision to take over for his father, and then we go into 2, and 2's the best movie ever fucking made. But
Do you know the song for Rocky 3?
No.
Do you?
Not off the top of my head.
I believe it's the
Eye of the Tiger?
yeah.
Is it?
Tiger.
Because that Eye of the Tiger doesn't appear in Rocky 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure it's in the montage of 3.
Oh. I assumed that was just in all of
No,
them.
It's one of those things that we all think. Yeah.
It's one of those things. The Rocky.
Oh, really?
The Rocky
That's
theme is
interesting.
something else. The Rocky theme is
Dun 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 dun
Dun,
dun 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 dun.
That's the Rocky theme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Eye of the Tiger is a great song.
Dun dun.
Did it?
I like yours, Krystle, because like those are the like those are some of the best montages actually. Like
Yeah.
the Dirty Dancing and the Scarface one specifically. I love the Scarface one because it's like
So good.
that's already a 3-hour movie, right?
Yeah.
So Stone's like, okay, we're the point of where Tony's like, first you get the money, now he's got we could see what happens with money, power, and women. Or you can have a montage of everything happening at once, and it's like just excess to beyond.
I think those movies, especially the ones with excess, lend themselves to great montages. Is there one in Casino?
Yeah,
I think there is, right?
it's the full.
so.
It's the full Stones scene, and it's not necessarily a montage of.
Is it when he falls in love with Sharon Stone?
No,
No,
it's
okay.
when you hear him talk about how a casino should run.
Oh, yes.
And it's Can You Hear Me Knocking when they come in, and Can You Hear Me Knocking plays start to finish. Well, it's start to finish in the unedited track, so it's got that lull in between where it's just like it's an interlude, and he's just strumming away on the guitars, and I don't know how they figured it, like if they shot the scene and they were like, what do we put in this? Or if he was like, we're going to shoot this over top. So like if they're walking into the room and you're hearing Can You Hear Me Knocking, then they know how to pace. They're like, okay, this interlude of fucking 2 minutes is coming up. We've got to have something that's not as action packed, but it's almost a solid one take too. Like it's a montage, but
I knew there had to. I just was picturing it.
it's a montage of a casino, not of different scenes, but it uses the montage in the casino to
Is
take
that also
you
where he's
through
like,
it.
the pit boss watches this boss?
Yes, that's the cameras in the sky and
Yeah,
everyone and the cameras watch all of us. That whole thing is that. Yeah. Fuck, that's such a good movie.
Oh, it's so good. Every time I sing, it's one of my songs. When I sing House of the Rising Sun, when I karaoke, and I always do the full like Sharon Stone like. In the edge, like that's her last. She takes the bad dose at the end.
Yeah,
That's
and
how
she's
I
just
end
crawling
the song.
along the hotel wall.
Yeah,
Well, you know what? In the earlier in our improv shit, how the fuck am I funny? Do you find me motherfucking funny, motherfucker? That's improv.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Joe Pesci?
Yeah, and you can once you know that you can be like, okay, I can tell because he's holding his breath the whole line, and there's a point where he's like, and he's short of breath at the end. And it wouldn't be like that if he knew his lines were broken up, right? Like if you could break that up. And that is like them going back and forth, but he gasses out. So it feels more that he's in the scene than, okay, I need my line, right? And then he can take a breath and then go to his next line if they're cutting it. But I think that was another one.
Crazy.
Fucking montages. A super cut of montages.
Oh, it exists.
You know what I used to love too is like you'd buy, your VHS tape for $32, and then you'd get it home and you'd pop it in, and it'd be like Paramount's greatest hits, and then they'd play like Top Gun, they'd play like Danger Zone, and they'd show like clips, like montage clips, and they'd be like starting at $26.99, and you're like, ugh, I want them all.
Hollywood has been since the golden age of cinema. Whenever Hollywood has ever been in a downturn. And people weren't interested in film at the time because moving pictures were fake in the 30s. Like they got to the point where people were like, "This is not cool." And the movies, like Hollywood, would just make a thing, and they would supercut it all, and it would be this like feel like emotional, invoking supercut of why you should come back to film. And they just did it recently after COVID. Like it reminds me of what they did in 30s and then during World War II, and then all of like these bit periods where. people's eyes have been taken off the screen, they then go and show you the sexiness of why it should
Please come
back. But and even doing it in
Totally.
VHS tapes, right? Like
Yeah.
they're everywhere, infecting you with
I'm okay
don't
with
ever
it.
stop loving movies and television.
Yeah.
Next question. Next question. Do you want to do something serious or do you want to do something funny? Because funny is Cameo and serious is if your life was a movie, what would be the title and who would direct it and or play you?
Oh, is that the last one?
That's the last one.
Wait, what's the action sequence? We're not doing that one.
We're not doing that one.
'Kay.
Because I'm an idiot. But
Fuck action.
fuck.
What about the cameo?
Let's do Cameo. All right. So like historically, when did you guys start noticing cameos start happening in films? Like, because there's always been your like character players who are in everything, which you can't count as a cameo,
Right,
Because they're just there to be the character actor that they are, which is a whole different conversation. But like,
Well, I
really
guess,
noticing like, hey, that's
like
cool.
What's considered a cameo? Is it like longer than a minute, or is it like?
Well, a cameo is defined as a distinguished actor taking a role that is either like no lines or very bit, right?
Film school again. Wasted money. I had
You're
it right
welcome.
here. Yeah, just fucking defining life.
Glad I could help redefine your bad expenditures, guys.
Wow.
But so like okay, this a fucking stupid list here. The first one, and this kind of went in like there's the ones where you're like, and I guess cameos really relate to how much you watch film, because how much you watch film will tell you that that's not they're in other stuff. Like if
Right.
you're not a big
Yeah,
film,
for sure.
if you're not a cinephile, you're not going
Yeah.
to be like they're not supposed to be there, or
Right.
this
Of
is
course not, you'd have
out
to
of
know,
place.
yeah.
You'd have to know. So Eurotrip. Scotty doesn't know.
That's one of my favorites.
Matt
yeah.
Damon as the punk rock singer.
Yeah,
with the
that was one of my
painted
favorite. I
nails.
remember seeing that in theater, going, "Is that Matt Damon?" And I kept thinking that I was like, "That guy looks like Matt Damon." I was like, "It can't be though."
Like
Like-
time and effort to do a cameo.
Yeah,
As I've started to learn how much work goes into making a feature and all of the time and effort that goes into it. A cameo is not like to the layman. You're like, oh, whatever. But like that still takes time, effort,
Yeah.
scheduling,
For sure.
negotiations, money. Like it's not just, hey, I was in the area. But like Scotty doesn't know is got to be Damon knowing somebody on the production
well,
side.
yeah,
Like-
that
like-
movie's very like it's still small. It is a small teen comedy. Like none of the
Right.
actors are doing it. Michelle Trachtenberg was the biggest name in that. Like
Yeah,
film.
you're right.
Like there was no one else.
Yeah, you're right.
So, and even then, I don't think she was that big. She did Harriet the Spy. I don't think she was even in Buffy yet. So,
yeah.
why
that-
does my brain know
But
things?
why is Matt
I
Damon
know.
like that's not character suicide or career suicide by any means, but like it can.
Yeah, it was a
like,
pull. I'm sure it was a studio pull where they were just like, "Hey,
like,
well,
who does he owe on his
yeah,
contract?"
yeah,
that,
right. Like we
need
have
to-
Oscar winner Matt Damon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. Oh, I'm taking an audio note. That was first pick for just like ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
A
and
good.
then-
Hey, by the way, good.
yeah,
ha, ha, ha.
yeah. Right. I see you. Yeah. well
I
done.
see that, ha ha ha, and I approve.
Then I went with well played. Like makes sense. Like why haven't we seen this sooner? Keith
Right.
Richards as Johnny
Oh,
Depp's
of
father.
course.
Oh
Yeah.
god,
Pirates,
that one.
right?
Yeah, in World's End.
Yeah.
Right? And you're just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, about fucking
course.
time.
Fuck that one.
Right? Who
Yeah.
and
That
like,
movie's so
I
bad.
totally forgot. I mean, yeah, like I forgot about that.
but
Yeah.
that's the studio listen. That's Disney going, well, we've heard you say that you
Yeah.
modeled Keith
Yeah.
Richards for Johnny
Yeah,
for Sparrow, so we need if we made anybody else the father,
Yeah.
we'd go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people would pull stocks. So
really good. That's
yeah.
a good one.
then I landed with I started going down the you didn't know they were there route. Right? Like they are doing a cameo, but they're not themselves.
Right.
Daniel Craig is a stormtrooper. in
Oh,
Force
yes.
Awakens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was
forgot about
thinking
Right?
that when you were
Yeah.
talking about the one right before.
Like
Yeah.
voice
Yeah.
and to us we've heard Daniel Craig talk so much, so
Right.
the ear goes. But to anybody in the theater who's not a big James
No,
Bond
they would not
fan
know.
or even Daniel Craig fan for that matter, you're just like, man, it's a stormtrooper. You're like, no, that's James fucking Bond underneath
Yeah, yeah,
there, and he's putting his weapon down because Ray told him to, and that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Glenn Close in Hook. Do you remember the boo box?
Yes.
Ooh, the boo box.
Yes.
The pirate that goes in the boo box is Glenn Close.
Oh my God, that's right. You know what? I only learned that a few years ago
Same here.
because I love Hook, and I know it doesn't.
Looky,
some
looky, I
people
got
don't
hooky.
like it, but I love it.
How do you not like
Hook
Hook?
is
It
one
got
I
really
I
bad
love
reviews.
Hook.
Literally, my best friend and I she was home at Christmas. Hook was on. We were talking about how much we loved it, and I actually talked to someone that I was working
Lost
with
my marbles.
who was on that set and said that set was the most unbelievable thing they've ever seen in their life. Like that set was like you were in Neverland, and like how could you not love that movie? And it got bad. And so we started looking at old reviews of it and how bad reviews it got. And I was like, how can you not love this? But yes, I just read that Glenn Close was that. Not the boo box.
Not the boo box.
Yeah.
The boo box. Boo box.
So good.
So those are mine, and
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to start it off with like, you know, Cameo can be so many things. It doesn't have to be Brad Pitt and Deadpool 2 getting shocked
Oh, right.
and then
Right.
being huge.
Trevor
Yeah.
Sullivan. Yeah.
Allan, what do you like when you've been surprised with? Oh, you're there. Hello.
I don't know. I just like it when I don't have any like ones that I remember
'Kay.
like off the top of my
It's
head.
hard. This isn't
Yeah,
hard.
It is,
exactly.
yeah.
I like it when I see it. You know, it's kind of interesting. But there's they're doing. Okay, I'm going to refer to the Marvel movies now. But because there's so much continuity in the Marvel movies, and every time there's a new Marvel something, you never know who's going to show up in whatever character,
That's
right?
true.
And they're just foreshadowing. They're foreshadowing. I mean, it's essentially a cameo, but they're foreshadowing what is going to happen in the future, right?
Yeah.
And so every time there's somebody, I don't know, Harry Styles, whatever, you know, showing up at like.
I get what you're saying. You're saying that the Marvel magic is like, here's a little bit of Harry Styles as Eros or whatever,
Right,
Thanos' brother, knowing that he'll be a character
Fox.
later,
yeah.
but using as a cameo in the end credits.
But they do that so much.
They
They
do.
almost do it too much, right? Like the cameos of the different people, and you know the whole Stanley thing, of course, was fantastic. You know, it's you know it's such a nice tribute to
Tommy Lee's penis and Pam and Tommy.
Oh yeah, that's a good cameo.
That was a good cameo.
Who does the
cameo.
voice?
It's really his.
Is it actually his voice? I don't know. I don't know who does his voice.
Oh,
I don't.
Is there?
No,
is
I
that
I think
actually?
it's him. I think
I
it's.
think
just-
it's probably him.
Yeah.
Tommy
the
Lee?
actor. No, the actor.
Oh, Stan.
Yeah.
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Stan. Yeah.
No, that's a really good point. And it's part of the cookie cutter.
Yeah.
That is Marvel. Like I love Marvel to death, but I also know I'm going to get 3 acts, and I'm going to get a hero's journey, and I'm going to get a really expensive, well shot, great story, and
Yeah.
it'll be my Greek mythology for our time. But the cameo, yeah, and it always takes place in the end credits, right? They're like, hang around for 7 minutes, and we'll use it. What about you, Ian?
I have two. I have my one that I initially thought of that's like my favorite, and the one I always think about kind of randomly because I think it's very funny and it always makes me laugh. And it's funny because at the time I don't think he's where he was famous, but not where he was like a few years later. But Neil Patrick Harris and Harold and Kumar
Parodying himself.
playing
Yes,
an insane
yeah.
version of himself before How I Met Your Mother, before that came out.
That's
So
right. I forgot he
so
was
he
in
was
that.
just basically coming out of like
I remember that.
this Doogie Howser stage where people knew him as this child actor,
Yep.
and so he was just playing this like fucked up version where they literally like Harold and Kumar are driving and they stop and they go, oh, a hitchhiker, should we pick him up? Okay, let's pick him up. And it's Neil Patrick Harris, and then they both look at each other like, are you Neil Patrick Harris? He's like, yeah, what's up? And then he's just like on a drug trip fucking
It's
people.
some wicked X.
Yeah, and he just starts fucking people and steals their car and shit, and like is completely over the top. And you know, I used to say How I Met Your Mother is the Neil Patrick Harris show. Like it was. I watched that show mainly.
Yeah, the bro
for him.
code.
Yeah, bro code. Like he made every bit better.
Oh yeah, he was fantastic.
He was the best
bumbling-
part.
he was the
I don't know if
bumbling
he ever,
idiot.
I don't know if he ever won an Emmy, but he should have. Like at least once.
I feel like he must have.
He must have. Or
He
at least
must have.
nominated.
He was a tolerable asshole.
Yeah, 100%. And like it was just. It just, he played it so well. Like, it was just this character. And he's kind of doing a toned down version of that in How I Met Your Mother, the same character in a way. And it's just so funny how, you know, hey, it's a stoner movie that's very fun. So that's the one I always think of. But can I say, like, the greatest one, which Allan touched on it, and it's the one that, like, still gives me goosebumps. And I love watching TikTok and finding audience reaction, and it's spoilers for Spider-Man. But, like, the Toby Andrew thing is,
right.
like...
Someone already spoiled that for me yesterday on set.
What? You've
I
not
haven't
seen it?
No, you guys, I haven't seen it.
Remember, her husband doesn't like superheroes.
Yeah, and my
What a lonely
superhero
life.
bestie. There's a dog at the door.
Come on, Diamond, come in. Come on.
She doesn't know English.
No, stop. Allan's here. Go wait, Diamond. Go. Oh.
That's
You
okay.
can just come to me.
That's okay.
Come to me.
But in general, apologies. But I
No,
guess you
it's
already
okay.
know it.
We were talking about cameos yesterday, and
But-
someone already
but
spoiled. And
in-
I was like, it's gonna be it's fine.
In general, though, that is like one of the greatest theater moments I've ever had. Was
Yeah,
like
the reveal of
the
that, yeah.
ripping off of Andrew's mask and the theater fucking erupting and literally people hitting their chair and going, "Oh my fucking god, I'm coming!" Like people saying bullshit stuff like that. I've heard that. I'm not even making that
It's
up.
okay. It was me. I was sitting next to
No, I know. You're like, I need to change pants again. Oh,
6 to
Toby!
12.
Toby!
No, when you see it, it's just Diamond. Stay away from the person who. Yeah, there you go. When you see it, and it's a big cameo flex, is what it is. It's like the longest cameo.
But can I say one of the reasons why it's the best is not only because of reaction, what it means for the universe, what it means for this movie, even on the corporate sense of how the fuck they even did this, how much negotiations must have happened, how much pre-negotiation must have happened to get these actors from these separate directors, from these separate franchises, from these separate studios into this one movie, to make this all work cohesively in a story that puts me in a seat that makes me not only go to the theater once, but 3 times. I've seen that movie 3 times in theater, and I enjoy it every fucking time. That's how fucking good that movie is.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Which
really
is
sad.
why it's mind blowing that
I'm just gonna have to go alone.
I'm mic dropping.
it should be
Can I
a
throw
best
this mic?
It should be a best picture nod for sure.
Agreed.
For
just
sure.
just for
And isn't
just,
there a fan favorite or something this year?
They usually do something like that, but
Twitter and the Oscars decided to form a superhero combination and say, all right, world, what do you want to see
so
Nominated.
stupid.
as fan favorite? And they thought it would be a tie between Justice League for Zack Schneider
And Venom 2.
and was
Oh
it?
my god.
I don't know what the other one was. I probably a Marvel film, probably Spider-Man, like something, right? But
Probably.
What was it?
the Cinderella remake with Korea Cabello.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we don't know.
Oh
Well, we
my
don't know, but I don't know
God.
if anybody's trolling this and they're just trying to prove.
Probably, because
that
I didn't even know this was happening.
What?
like the Oscars, instead of letting the fans pick, the Oscars should just be like,
Well-
yes, superhero movies can have a home if they are
Well,
doing what.
It's weird that like after the
Wow.
10, like they do the 10, and like you get years where Black Panther got it, Get Out got it, like they push it, Avatar, whatever. But like you thought Spider-Man would have gotten in there over Coda, say
Right.
if anything.
Yeah, no, I.
Coda. The only reason's in there was the biggest fucking Amazon Sundance deal that's ever existed. That's why Coda's in that list. I don't think Coda deserves to be there, but whatever.
Cameos rock though. They're the treat within the movie. Like you're already going for a thing, but then when you get, because you like you just said, like the conversations to even think of, like Andrew Garfield, that one I see is attainable. I see some hoops, but Maguire, to convince him to revisit it, that one I think was probably going to be the hardest. But like it looks so good, Krystle, when you see it and the bits and the jokes. And
Well,
like
that's why I
it's-
asked you, what is a cameo? Like in that sense, like is that considered one? Is that a rehash? Like I don't even know.
Because they're not in the entire movie.
Yeah.
They show up for a certain portion of it.
Yeah.
And they won't be back in the same movie. So technically, it falls into a cameo category.
Oh yeah.
I like
Oh,
when
yeah,
there's
okay.
I like when there's connection. Like Cheetah Rivera in the New West Side.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
Oh.
you guys didn't know that.
No,
I didn't.
No,
Wow.
I've seen West
Wow.
Side.
2
saw one-
spoilers.
Okay. Well, yeah, she plays like
Yeah.
the shop.
The
owner.
shop. Now that
Yeah.
you say it, I was like, right. I forgot about that.
But like bringing her back
forgot that
for the
I've
new
seen
it.
musical
Yeah,
and
exactly.
knowing that's like
Yeah.
knowing your
The
history.
connection, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because it was an old man in
That's
the
very
initial
cool.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
And-
back and remake what you are known for and make some magic with us again.
Yeah, exactly.
No, those are great.
I had what's his name?
Star Wars.
Robert Patrick from Terminator 2 and Wayne's World when they get pulled over. Is it
Oh
Wayne's
my
World or Wayne's
god!
World 2?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And he's like,
Is that one or two?
I can't remember if that's
He's
one
the
or
cop,
two.
right?
Cop.
But
He's
it's
the cop.
it's the T-1000
He's the cop.
bit.
Yeah, and he,
That's
like,
so
That's so
yes.
good. I forgot about that.
And then he's like, "Have you seen this boy?" And
Yeah.
they're both like, that was one of my favorites. And then I had because that's so good
That's
because you're
so
not
funny. I forgot
expecting
about
it
that.
and like
Well, it's using character as a cameo instead of the actor playing.
Right.
Like you're
Yes.
using T-1000 as the
it's
bit.
very. It's funny because I'm gonna say like It's Austin Powers. It's very Austin Powers, even though it's Mike Myers. So I don't like
it is.
It's very Shrek.
Yeah, it's very Shrek.
It is. And then no one in this room will remember this movie, but I always thought it was such a good cameo, and it was from this movie called The First Wives Club.
I love the first
Bette
one.
Midler,
okay.
Goldie Hawn.
It's
okay.
so good.
It's
Diane
so good.
Keaton.
But at the end of the movie,
You don't know me.
Yes.
I don't wanna. I know that fucking
the
movie.
movie's so good. Ivana
well.
Trump at the end comes
Oh,
to their
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
and
Because
gives
she's
a big
part of the first.
donation.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
And she goes, "Don't get even, get everything." And I'd always
Yeah.
thought that was such a good.
It's probably what made Donald Trump have to
movie.
want
I
to do
love-
it in Home Alone too.
I love that
Probably.
you thought that
Yeah.
we wouldn't know that movie.
I was just.
I had sisters, and I watched that movie.
I
One
had
day
a-
I watched
yeah.
that movie 5 times in a row.
It's so good. And then while I was thinking
I have
of
a
that
weird
one, I
fucking
remembered the one in Love Actually, where the whole time Liam Neeson's making a joke about how someday he'd love to date Claudia Schiffer, and then she's one of the kids' moms at the end, and they bump into each other, and like and I always thought that was like a clever use of a
Yeah.
cameo, because he's just like bumps into her, and she's like, "Oh, sorry," and then he's like, "Nice to see you." Or whatever.
I love Love Actually.
I know,
cute.
me too.
It's the Love Actually and The Holiday are my two favorite.
My Christmas
Christmas
movies, me
movies.
too. I watch them every year.
Yeah.
They're so heartwarming.
Cameron Diaz makes Christmas just that much better.
Yeah.
Aw. Until you see Violet Night.
Yeah.
Then you'll have a new favorite Christmas
That's right.
movie.
I don't doubt it. I honestly
We'll
don't.
have to when that movie comes out. We'll have to do this again and
Yeah.
talk about it.
Well, do you want to come back? Do you want to do this again, Krystle?
Sure.
Yeah?
If you guys will have me.
Oh, that's an easy yes. And Allan, you're back, so obviously.
Cool.
Because then once the movie's out, I'll be able to talk about it more.
Yeah.
Well, I dig it. I would love to keep this going, but we are going to the Ukraine rally at the Ledge.
Oh, good.
Nice.
We're gonna go.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
and go down
good.
there and
I myself
Just be there.
I myself am a puke, so
yeah, just to kind of because I'm Ukrainian and like this sucks. And I was like, when they were in the World Cup, I was like, man, it's Ukraine. But now I was like, no, these people are fighting for their fucking lives. I'm
It's
gonna
the
go make
craziest
some
shit.
fucking noise.
Crazy.
that's the
So-
craziest shit
so
ever.
that's
Yeah.
otherwise I would stay here and
Good
talk
for
cinema
you. That's
all
awesome.
afternoon
I
with
didn't
you
even
guys.
know that was going on.
Yeah, I didn't know until this morning either. so.
Amazing.
But thank you so much for coming back, Allan, and doing this. And
Oh, of course.
Thank you for bringing your friend Krystle. Like this is a lot of fun. This is
Thanks, Ian.
So much fun.
Ian. Fuck
Thanks for
you.
having
You're
us.
You're the lifeblood of the show. Yeah, no, I'll have anytime. Please come back. We'll do the Oscar thing for sure.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to be part of Oscars.
Yeah, no. Well, I've found like there's certain pockets of how everybody kind of. I was like, okay, these three people need to be in the room, and when these three people are in the room, so you three people, I can't cheat on you now. So it's got to be the three of us again to do this, or it doesn't happen. So, thank you kindly, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another Real Debaters production. If you want to find out how to stay in touch with the Debaterverse, as we affectionately call it here, there's a whole end credit trailer about all the stuff that other podcasts will start to tell you here. And I've decided to let you make that choice. You can listen to it. You don't have to listen to it. But if this is your first time listening to the show and you want to support us, you want to follow us, you want to stay in touch with us, you want to tell us we're idiots and that you have differing opinions, you want to come up with an idea for a show, you want to be involved in what we do. We love everybody in Winnipeg specifically because it's close and we're lazy. But no matter where you are in Canada or the world and you're listening to this, specifically India, I've noticed a giant uptick in India.
You're welcome.
I didn't. No, but I
No, you didn't have to say it. You looked at me and said India.
It's just a fucking statistical fact.
My name
that,
may
like-
be Ian, but I know where my bloodline lies.
So okay, whatever you. Thanks, man.
Hey, my people know.
So thank you to everybody in India and everywhere else that listens. It will be very brief. I have been Michael Petrow.
I just want to say X Hamster is still a great site.
Hey man, we'll take maybe not their money for sponsorship, but you get a free plug.
Free plug for X Hamster and the Pam and Tommy tape. I'm Ian Balla.
And
I'm Allan Wong.
I'm Krystle Snow.
and we are gone. Watch all the movies, kids. Bye-bye.
do to you fair Spanish ladies.
And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, another Real Debaters production is in the can. Thank you so much for listening. If this is your first, second, third, fifth, 20th time, thank you so much. But thank you to the first timers, the ones here who pressed play for the first time and took a gamble on us. If you like what you heard today, the easiest thing to support the show is just to subscribe. Hit the like button, the follow button, whatever's in your podcast player. Make it so that we're always there every Wednesday for you, okay? That would be huge. If you want to stay in touch with us, if you want to follow us, there's a couple ways to do that. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. We're slowly migrating to YouTube by putting all of the things we've ever put on video onto that site. There's some surprises coming this year that happened a while ago, but I felt needed to be shared because they're part of the Debaterverse. So the YouTube page is coming. But if you want to follow us, it's at Real Debaters Pod on Twitter and Instagram. It's the Real Debaters Podcast on TikTok. All of the links, all of the one-click away things are in the show notes that you've just listened to. So if you want to follow us there, that would be great too, because then you get to stay in the know of all the things that we do and what we're going to try to do this year and what we've done in the past, so on and so forth. So that's how you stay in touch with us. If you want to contact us, it's therealdebaters@gmail.com. All the spelling for all these things is REEL to keep with the title of the show. So you can send an email to us there, request an episode, want to call out one of us for being a goofball. There's places to do that as well, too. Like the Real Debaters website. You can email us, or you can go straight to the website, rate us some Podchaser, it's realdebaters.ca. And if you really, really liked what you heard and you want to support the show in some fashion that requires you spending money, well, we got a couple ways for you to do that as well, too. You can buy our merch at the Prop Shop. It's a store through Threadless, and it's online, and you can order stuff. We've got tons of stuff. We've got our Mass Debater wear there. It's our signature, original, and only line. It's our logo on everything. So you can support us that way. Go to the merch tab in the show notes, or if you just got $1 and you're like, hey, I want to give you $1 and donate it to your cause, there is a tab in the show notes as well, too, that says donate to the Debaterverse, I think. And if you click on that, it takes you to a donation page where you can donate like $1, $3, and $5, and you'll get something for your $1, $3, or $5. Any more than that's just ludicrous. Luda. So, that's just kind of what I wanted to tell you, that what I said at the end of the show. This is what you should listen to, because this is all about who we are. And now that we've gotten to where we are, we want to interact with you guys more. So these are the ways to do so. This is the way to stay in touch with us. Thank you to everybody, again, who's listened to the show. Again, you pressed play. You took a chance. That's cool. So without further ado, this is where I said I would talk more, so it's eggs on your face. No, I got nothing else for you. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week, and watch all them fucking movies. Bye-bye.